been a longer offseason than what North Dakota State is used to, but the Bison quickly got back to work. 15 starters return as the 2017 journey begins today against Mississippi Valley State. The road is long and many challenges await, but NDSU has the experience with 21 seniors looking to finish their final seasons with a return trip to Texas. The time is now, and the motto has been to stay hungry. It's time to kick off another season of Bison football next on the KBOI KFYR Bison Network.
Get your horns out!
Mississippi Valley State, you are the visiting team. You'll call the toss. We're honored to have Jacob Daly.
Let's get on with the show. Get your horns up. The green and gold are back in town. Get your horns up. Pumped up and ready to throw down. Toss that horn up in the air. Bring the boys up to the line. Hold their horns up high because it's Bison time.
Hello everyone and welcome inside the FARGODOME at Gate City Bank Field for NDSU football here on the KBOI KFYR Bison Television Network. Brian Shaw and Lee Timmerman back with you once again this season, our first of 10 telecasts statewide across the great state of North Dakota. The first opponent on the schedule, Mississippi Valley State out of the SWAC, the third meeting all time between these two programs. And LT, defensively, North Dakota State set very, very well. 8 starters back. Loss of Greg Menard, but the Bison feeling really good on that side of the football to start this season.
Yeah, it would have been 9 had Menard not had his ACL injury, but the defensive line is still deep. We're going to see some red shirts being pulled off a guy from the on the defensive line, so that'll be a little bit different. May see a red shirt being pulled from one of the defensive backs, but this is a team that's deep, and when you get Nick DeLuca back, you know you have the framework of a defense that's very special, and I think they are.
And Nathan Tangway also back after an ACL tear, his first game in 9 months as well, getting some depth to that defensive front for NDSU. Offensively, 3 new pieces to replace on the offensive line. Dylan Radin's the guy we're hearing a lot about, but Tanner Volson getting his opportunity to start at center, really is the full-time guy this year.
I really hesitate to call it a question mark about the offensive line because they are so deep, but they have 3 guys battling for those 2 spots on the left side.
All right, getting ready to kick things off here. As North Dakota State won the toss, they have deferred, and Cam Peterson will have our first Peterson Farm Seed kickoff of the season. Kick off your planning season with Peterson Farm Seed.
There's such an excitement level that just goes with the season opener, and you feel it in the building. You feel it talking to the coaches before the game. It was fun to see how excited Coach Mess was to have his first game here in the FARGODOME, and let's just get this thing started.
Yeah, it's time to play football. There's no question about that. Deep for Mississippi Valley State is Fareen Toney, one of the defensive backs. And back there you also see Booker Chambers, who was the 2015 Southwestern Athletic Conference Freshman of the Year. Actually left the team after last season, went to Delta State to transfer, and then decided over the summer he wanted to come back to Mississippi Valley State, so here he is.
Chambers probably the most explosive player who will have his hands on the ball today for the Delta Devils.
Football is back, and North Dakota State in the FARGODOME, another sold-out crowd, and we're proud to bring it to you in high definition statewide on the KBOI KFY Bison Network, and now we have a flag.
I think we're going to have a delay a game on the kicking team.
What a way to start off the 2017 season.
I think Peterson was waiting for somebody to tell him to go, and he never saw it. The kicking team never saw it, and it's going to cost him 5 yards.
So we'll eventually have the Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Already get that first flag out of the way at least, LT.
Well, yeah, you hope that's not a trend this year, because the first flag happened before there were even a second was played. Odd. Of all the delay penalties, that's one you usually do not see.
Well, one thing the coaching staff talked to us about is just playing a clean game. Let's not worry about Mississippi Valley State. Let's go out and execute our stuff and do what we can do. Now we'll get underway, and I think Peterson will make sure he gets this one in the air before the play clock expires. Coming down a little bit short, Chambers from his own 10. Chambers has a lane to the outside to the 35. Chambers has one man to beat. He is in Bison territory down to the 35.
Well, what did we say about his explosiveness? We just saw it. Kicking team, the lanes broke down a little bit, and I tell you, if Dimitri Williams wasn't there with a decent angle, Mississippi Valley State would be ahead.
So the Delta Devils a spark on special teams. Puts the offense in great field position, and there's a look at the new quarterback, Jet Even, a transfer from Pasadena City College, originally from the Portland, Oregon area, and this is his first start. He did not really play as a sophomore at the junior college level, did start as a freshman. Even quickly in the flat, ball is dropped. Would have gone nowhere anyway. O'Brien Anderson, the intended target, the starting running back for Mississippi Valley State. As we take a look at your Shield starting lineup, first with the North Dakota State defense.
Caleb Butler, Blaine, Minnesota. Nathan Tangway, McWanago, Wisconsin. Aaron Steidel, Carlos, Minnesota. Stanley Jones, Bismarck, North Dakota. Nick DeLuca, Omaha, Nebraska.
Matt Plank, Gardner, Kansas.
Chris Board, Orlando, Florida.
Jalen Winbush, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Robbie Grimsley, Hutchinson, Minnesota.
Trey Dempsey, Lakeland, Florida.
Gail Nelson, Papillion, Nebraska.
And how about Caleb Butler making the play from the defensive end spot? Loss of 2 on that carry from O'Brien will bring up 3rd and 12.
Well, I know there's been a lot of preseason talk about not having Greg Menard, but not much has been said about the guy starting on the other side. We just saw what Caleb Butler can do. He is an exceptional athlete, and he will anchor the left side of that defense a ton this year. He, at times, is almost unblockable.
A former walk-on from Coon Rapids, Minnesota, did have 5 sacks last season. 3rd and long coming up for Mississippi Valley State. Bison showing pressure, here they come. Even, swallowed up back at the 45, and the first man there was Nate Tangway, the senior out of Mukwanago, Wisconsin.
You talk about guys excited to play a game. How about Nate Tangway? And we talked about the injury and all the stuff that he had to do to rehab his knee injury. Even did not have a chance. You see number 5, Robbie Grimsley. He was the nickel player, and so he blitzes from the nickel side. That threw Evans' reads way off, and by that time he was swallowed up.
So Mississippi Valley goes minus 10 yards on their opening drive after getting set up with really good field position after the Chambers return.
Defensive coordinator Matt Entz says, expect us to bring a lot of pressure early. The Bison certainly did.
Justin Reed on for the punt from Australia. Ball takes a bounce and is down at the 18-yard line, and that's where North Dakota State will have it in their first possession here this afternoon.
Well, that's a good sign for that starting defensive unit, the one that everybody thinks will be so good, and put me on the top of that list. This defense is going to be outstanding, so not only did they do their job, they did it well. Delta Devils went backwards.
There's a look at Easton Stick, the junior quarterback out of Omaha. completed 59% of his passes last year, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions for 167 yards a game. He also ran for 7 touchdowns and rushed for nearly 50 a game.
59 sounds good, but it's not good enough. The Bison wanted around 65 or so.
Bison run the football right away. Big hole up the middle as Lance Dunn carries for 5 yards up to the 23. Here's a look at the North Dakota State offense. Starting lineup brought to you by Shields.
Easton Stick, Omaha, Nebraska.
Colin Connor, Linden, Wisconsin.
Bryce Messner, Mackville, North Dakota.
Tanner Volson, Belfour, North Dakota.
Austin Coonert, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Zach Johnson, Spring Lake Park, Minnesota.
Connor Wentz, Denellen, Florida.
Brock Robbins, Cavalier, North Dakota.
Lance Dunn, Waterloo, Iowa.
RJ Urzendowski, Omaha, Nebraska.
Darius Shepard, Blue Springs, Missouri.
And a flag comes out before that thing gets underway, and it looks like somebody jumped on the North Dakota State front. That is the Hawley, Minnesota product, Ben Ellefson.
After an exceptional surge on the ground on play 1, the Bison were going with a pass play, their first of the day.
Here's a look at the Shields starting lineup for the Mississippi Valley defense. Probably the top player that we saw is that Nicholas Everett, cornerback, had 4 interceptions last year. Also keep an eye on Patrick Harbin, a really big linebacker, 260 pounds in the middle. Stick will run, he's got room. Stick off to the races. Across midfield, got a block from Dimitri Williams. Here comes a flag. I think they're going to get Williams for a block in the back at the 40, but a nice run for Easton Stick will be a first down for North Dakota State.
It will be a first down, and you're right, Brian. You saw it like a bunch of the officials did. There's hankies all over the place because Williams was hard on the back. Here's the Nodak Insurance Company replay, and Stick on a little quarterback hesitation has the middle of the field, and coming in from the left, right there at the top of your screen, that was Williams.
Result after the penalty is still a first down.
The penalty is marked off from the spot. So Stick will get credit for all those yards on the ground. Then you mark it 10 yards back, reset, 1st and 10.
Williams getting a lesson there from A.T. Austin, the wide receivers coach for North Dakota State, saying we don't need that block in that situation. Easton had already made his cut back to the near side of the field.
Really, I think Williams had enough opportunity. If he just stays off the guy, that Stick might have an opportunity to make one move on a screen. He didn't really have to hit him, I don't think.
3 receivers in this set, including Desmond Kane, the transfer from Illinois. Stick, quick drop, floating it out for Urzendowski, who is wide open, and this is going to be a 47-yard touchdown.
Well, that didn't take long because of a huge defensive breakdown. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Stick is going to just put it up, and Urzendowski's wide open. We talked about Everett, number 2 right there. Did you see his hands in the air? He's going, where is my safety help? I thought I was supposed to hand him off to you. Safety was already too shallow. Easy 6 points.
So North Dakota State quickly on the board with 11:36 to go in the first quarter, and the Bison lead at 7-0. And you're watching Bison football here on the KVOI KFYR Bison Network. Urzendowski in the end zone. Quick start for NDSU. Welcome back to the Fargo Dome. Cam Peterson getting set to boot this one away after Easton Stick connected with R.J. Urzendowski, the former teammates at Creighton Prep in Omaha, giving NDSU a 7-0 lead here early in the first quarter. Chambers and Tony deep once again. Chambers, the 55-yard kickoff return on the opening kickoff. We'll see if he can set up Mississippi Valley on a short field again here.
I'm guessing Peterson might kick it to the other guy this time.
Another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planting season with Peterson Farm Seed, and it is Tony taking it from his own 6. Not much room this time. Good special teams coverage for North Dakota State. Looks like Jackson Brown and also Dan Marlette, Daniel Polanski all down there to get in on that tackle.
Much better that time on the special teams play. I think the Bison were so jacked up that first time that people actually ran a little bit too fast, if there's such a thing, and there is on kick coverage, because you kind of open up your lane. That time the Bison had it covered well.
Again, a lot of new pieces on this Mississippi Valley unit, especially up front. 2 sophomores and a freshman in the starting lineup here on the offensive line for the Delta Devils. Even, quick drop, gets rid of it, complete. That's a quick gain of about 4 yards. Eric Collins making the reception.
I tell you, it's going to be a long day for Even if they're going to let guys like Jared Tuska come untouched, because he got hit.
Here's a look at the offense for Mississippi Valley, brought to you by Shields. We talked about Even. Quinn McElfresh, number 81, is actually a local kid from Brainerd, Minnesota. In the 2 deep, they do go a 5 receiver look. Crenshaw and Bryant, the 2 guys with the most experience returning in the receiving corps for the Delta Devils. Even will keep it this time and now throw it, and Chambers could not hang on to it. Would have been close to a first down. Instead, will bring up a 3rd and 6.
Chambers would have had the opportunity to make one quick little juke. I like that that particular play, because as an offense, you're trying to put a defensive player, if you can isolate a defensive player and put them in conflict, which is exactly what DeLuca was in that time. Do I go at the quarterback? Do I hang back? He went for the quarterback. It was open. Chambers just didn't hold on.
3rd down has certainly been an issue for Mississippi Valley, and the biggest reason why they've only ran 25 yards per game last year rushing. That was their number, 30% on 3rd down in 2016. Even across the middle, and that was a dangerous pass as Derek Tuska was in there along with Hendricks on the coverage. The intended target there for Mississippi Valley was Darian Harper, a junior wide receiver from Beaumont, Texas.
Well, Derek Tuska, the sophomore, the younger of the 2 brothers, starting as a defensive end, then dropping into pass coverage. Why does he drop into pass coverage? Well, that's because DeLuca was on a blitz that time. So the Bison going to show Even a bunch of different things today.
We mentioned James Hendricks. He is a converted quarterback who has learned safety and has cracked the 2 deep, getting some early reps here in this game.
Because of the nickel. James is playing because Grimsley's going to the nickel spot.
Shepard had a ball bounce off somebody and then took it off a hop and is swallowed up by 4 or 5 Delta Devils right around midfield.
I think Shepard might have thought, hey, that hit one of my guys, so I better cover this up.
Second punt of the day for Justin Reed, the sophomore from Sydenham, Australia. And we'll take another quick timeout. 10:31 to go. North Dakota State with their 2nd possession, leading 7-0. Today's game is brought to you in part by Gate City Bank. Show your Bison pride with an NDSU Gate City Bank ATM and check card. Visit gatecitybank.com/mycard. 7-0 North Dakota State, 1st and 10 at their own 49. Stretch play, more good room. First carry of the day for Bruce Anderson. He has a first down across the 40 to the 39 of Mississippi Valley State.
Nice job here. I'm going to pick out Tanner Volson, number 74, the starting center, the junior. As he pulls, he didn't even really have anyone to hit. He did get a little bit of a seal, but the Bison, if NDSU wants to today, they could run for 400 yards. I mean, I'm not kidding. I know it's early in the game, but this offensive line is so much more physically dominant than the defensive line they're facing. They could really jam it if they wanted to.
Anderson, of course, hurt for a majority of last year, twisted an ankle. Stick, quick read, quick drop, caught and complete to Darius Shepard. Another first down to the 27-yard line. Shepard, of course, the leading receiver last year for North Dakota State, 45 receptions, 5 touchdowns, also carried the ball 12 times for 109 yards out of Blue Springs.
The Bison want to quicken up the pass game. What does that mean? That doesn't mean you want to run the pass routes faster. That means basically that when Stick gets to the top of his drop, whether it's a 3-step drop or a 5-step drop, he has his read made already. As soon as he plants that foot, he's ready to fire. It's make your read a little bit quicker.
Anderson again through the middle. Good room again. Flag comes in, and Anderson still on his feet to the 5. Will it be a touchdown? We don't know. Flag came in back at the 28-yard line.
I think it's a hold on Colin Connor is what I think is going to happen here, but you're right. The good surge, well, he's stick.
Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
You called it, LT.
Yeah, Stick was clapping his hands, I think, just because of the result of the play. The play did what it was designed to do. Connor got called for the holding a little bit behind the play.
I don't know if you saw it, LT, but Dylan Radens, the redshirt freshman, watch 54 here in the middle of your screen. Watch him just completely bulldoze his guy to the ground. That is a redshirt freshman out of Becker High School in Minnesota.
And then the infraction was on the lower right of your screen on that Nodak Insurance Company replay. But Radens and Connor and Bryce Mesner, those are the three guys that are all a combination will play. They're trying to take those three guys who all deserve the starting spot to figure out what's the best combo.
Back to the ground. Lance Dunn, patient, now bounces outside. Dunn to the 25, the 20, pushed out of bounds after a good gain of close to 20 yards. Will set up the Bison, second and short, pushed out by Antravius Jamison, a 6'1 junior from Macon, Mississippi.
One of the things I like about Lance Dunn is look at his patience. Okay, how do you be patient and quick all at the same time? Well, it's a tough thing to do, and not a lot of people can do it, but that is exactly what you saw from number 10 on that particular play. Chopped his little feet, let his offensive line do its job, open the seam, bounce to the outside, 2nd and 1.
Back to the ground game again, and Dunn again picking his way, bouncing off a couple of tacklers, and Jamison makes the tackle again, but not until Dunn gets inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal, North Dakota State.
On a 2nd and 1 play, why do you get 10 yards or so? Because the second level guys are being wiped off the play. That means not only are the Bison defensive line taking care of the offensive line, taking care of the 4 guys that have their hands on the ground, they're getting to the second level, meaning the linebackers as well. So the Bison again, offensive line doing what it should do against this Mississippi Valley State defense, and that's dominate them on the ground.
North Dakota State now getting close to 100 rush yards already just midway here through the first quarter. Stick is going to keep it. Bounce to the outside. He's got a little bit of room. Turns the corner. Touchdown.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Stick will come right at you. You see him make the read. 47 blows inside, fake handoff. Stick needs to get to the corner, turns it. It's to the wide side of the field, and he's able to get it up and in. The penalty takes away a rushing touchdown, but the Bison get the rushing touchdown eventually anyway.
Saw number 12, Tracy Tompkins, also get sucked into the middle a little bit there, and he was the outside linebacker that lost contain, and Stick, with his speed, took advantage of it. And just like that, North Dakota State leads at 14-0, 7:57 to go here in the first quarter.
Media timeout.
Take a look at your Bobcat scoring recap. 5 plays, 51 yards, and just 234 as Easton Stick runs it in from 8 yards out. And then Bison now, 6 carries, 100 yards already here in the first quarter.
Not a surprise. They're just so much, they meaning the Bison, are just so much more physically dominant up front.
Time for another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planting season with Peterson Farm Seed. Farine Tony, oh boy, dropped the ball at his own 12, and he's in trouble. Out of bounds at the 15, as Mississippi Valley will come on for their 3rd possession of the game. Ryan Gellner is our sideline reporter today and has a report on an injury for us, Brian.
Yeah, guys, it's not what the Bison needed. Jackson Brown, the backup free safety, out for the remainder of the game with a left knee injury. The telling sign, the defense came over. They all patted him on the shoulder, had some good words for him. They took his shoulder pads away. He was obviously disgusted, but Jackson Brown, left knee injury. He is out the remainder of the game.
All right, thanks so much, Ryan. And you just hope it's not something that is long-term for Jackson Brown, who is going to be counted on to be one of the backup safeties.
On a special team play, I did see him limp off a bit.
Charlie Crenshaw, the intended target, as even was again under heavy pressure. Incomplete. We'll bring up 2nd and 10.
You know, Passett had a chance to get caught too, though. I know it was a little bit behind him, but here on the Nodak Insurance Company replay, look at the pressure. Nice little push off there from Caleb Butler, running him down and putting the quarterback down. You like to see that quarterback hit the turf, even if he gets the ball off as a defensive lineman. You like to get a little smack in there if you can.
Two receivers on each side here for Mississippi Valley, and the handoff goes inside and really goes nowhere for Kyle Harris. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. Stanley Jones making the tackle for North Dakota State.
Well, if you're the Delta Devils, you would hope to have some type of a running game going, because right now the Bison, because of those 4 wideouts, are in the nickel. So there's one less linebacker out there. You think there might be able to have a little bit of space, but there's no space at all. There's number 94, Stanley Jones from Bismarck High. And he was one of the first guys that when Menard's injury happened, they're like, well, Stanley, you know, your turn to get going.
Even flushed, throws it across the middle high and incomplete. The intended target was Stephen McIntosh. And a 3-and-out for Mississippi Valley State, and it has not gone well here early for the Delta Devils.
Even had his chance, though. He had a man open. He just airmailed him a little bit too high. He had his chance. He had his guy open, and he had enough time to get the pass away. That's just a quarterback miss. He missed his man.
At Rick Comagee, 4-29. And Mississippi Valley State in his 4th season, but had a lot of success at Jackson State as a head coach. He actually came to Fargo back in the old Division II days when he was assistant coach. Said, I remember Old Dakota Field. Heavy pressure. The punt is off, and again it's short. Shepard calls for the fair catch and has it at the 39-yard line. And again, North Dakota State set up on a very short field.
Well, the last time it was close to midfield, but at least in the Bison end. This time it is in Mississippi Valley State's end. And if that's another recipe for giving up a bunch of points, if you can't get that ball any deeper than that after your offensive possession and the punt. So Connor's back at guard. It looks like Raiden said tackle. I've been trying to kind of see how the Bison on that left side. 54, that's Raiden's. Colin Connor, the guard on the left side.
2 tight ends as well now on the same side with Ellefson and Connor Wentz. Bootleg. Boy, Wentz wide open in the flat. Runs over a man down to the 24-yard line, and once again, it's Jamison making the stop.
Well, Wentz is like, okay, I'm 250-some pounds. I'm 6'3". I'm not tap dancing around you. Nodak Insurance Company replay. I'm going to put my head down, my shoulder down, and run right through you because I already have the first down. The Bison have an opportunity with their depth at tight end to do a bunch of things this year. It's going to be fun to see how it develops as the season goes, what they do with that tight end group.
Back to the ground game again. Huge hole for Lance Dunn. He is going to go untouched for the touchdown. 24 yards, and the Bison lead at 20-0.
There's not a running back in North Dakota, and I'm talking high school level, to either college that would not have scored a touchdown on that play. That's how well blocked it was. Nodak Company, Insurance Company replay, straight up the middle, the seam. You're already to the 3rd level. I talked about the 2nd level. You're already out to the free safety. And Dunn doesn't even have to do anything. He doesn't have to dance or nothing. He could walk it in, and he did.
Peterson adds the extra point. And North Dakota State is rolling. And we got a lot of football to play. 21-0, 6:15 to go here in the 1st quarter. Comagee going to try to tell his guys we got to keep fighting and battling. And again, this program for the Delta Devils very much in a rebuilding phase.
Yeah, you talked about the record, the 1-10 the last couple of years, and to kind of show you or give you an illustration of where the program is you take a look at their schedule. Their schedule is absolutely brutal. Why is it brutal? The team needs money. They have to come to NDSU and play and get paid. They have to go to Southern Illinois and get paid.
Well, as we mentioned, today's game is brought to you in part by Gate City Bank. And for a limited time only, receive $700 off your mortgage closing costs. For more details, visit gatecitybank.com/betterhomeloans. Let's take a look at your scoring recap. Brought to you by Bobcats. North Dakota State making short work on that drive. 2 plays, 39 yards as Lance Dunn scores the touchdown from 24 yards out. And so far, the total yardage, 198 for NDSU and -5 for Mississippi Valley State.
And again, every starting varsity running back in North Dakota would have scored on that play.
Tony from his own 2. They try to cut across the field, put a good move on one man, and eventually taken down at about the 17-yard line. A bunch of different Bison players in on that play, including Dan Marlette, the junior linebacker from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Again, Marlette, he's big, he's strong, he's athletic. He has made his way into the rotation on the defensive side, so he's been very impressive in fall camp playing that middle linebacker position. Now we're seeing a little bit more of the rotation out there on the defensive side for NDSU. I guess Jordheim just comes off.
It looks like actually Jordheim was the one that made the tackle. 45
okay.
and 48 with that Bison font. Can't always see it as clearly as you'd like. Boy, all sorts of penetration again. Chris Board got in there. Tuska. We also saw Blake Williams, backup defensive tackle, in the game, blow that thing up.
Well, the Delta Devils have tried their four wide, their 5 wide, their no tight ends. Now they're trying a little bit more of a traditional look because that first look did not work at all. Well, what it does for NDSU is it takes the nickel away. You bring that one more linebacker back in this case, Chris Board. You talk about guys who had a good fall camp. Chris Board has been rock solid, and you know, and one of the coaches told me he doesn't get enough credit for how well that he has performed.
We forget he was a safety for a couple of years, trying to learn a new position. That's not an easy thing to do. Handoff again. Looked like a little more room that time, but again, the Bison throwing off blocks, and again, it's Blake Williams flying in to make that stop. 2nd and 3rd and long coming up here for the Delta Devils.
Well, after Tangway's injury last year, Williams was one of the guys that got a lot more opportunity to play. So, you know, you take a look at as bad as a knee injury could be, and it was for Tangway last year, it did allow the Bison the opportunity to get a little bit of that depth. Williams is one of those guys who just made that play. Tangway's back in now at the right defensive tackle spot.
And I think Mississippi Valley State's going to take a timeout, trying to get things organized here a little bit on this 3rd and long.
They were running out of play clock. It was down to 8 already, and they hadn't been up to the line of scrimmage yet.
Let's take a look now at your North Dakota Soybean Council trivia question. What percentage of North Dakota workers are employed in farm-related jobs? We'll have your answer here coming up in just a little bit. Again, that brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council.
Wouldn't it be 100% of them? I don't think that's the point of the question, but I'm sorry, smart aleck right off the bat.
Getting a little testy for our opening game here, LT. We got a long way to go in this thing. Even rolling. Again, flushed out. And he will just throw it away as numerous Bison were giving chase, including Mr. Tuska, who has been very active from his defensive end spot here early, especially Derek. I mean, both Jared and Derek are flying around to Derek on that particular play.
But Derek is the one who is the better of the pass rushers. He's the guy that comes off the edge. He got his legs caught up just a little bit and gave up the edge, even though it was a design roll. Tuska would have rather had the quarterback even set up to try to throw as opposed to keep rolling, but he was not able to keep contained there. But another 3 and out. I mean, that, you know, it's a negative possession. You know, Mississippi Valley State didn't even gain a yard.
Oh, oops, boy, this
here's a
snap over the punter's head, and that will be a safety, and North Dakota State will get 2. And you see Harbin, who is actually the middle linebacker, is also the long snapper. Ayer mailed that one, and unfortunately for Mississippi Valley State, that is going to be 2 more points for the opposition.
Well, I guess we're missing field goal and 2-point conversion are the only ways to other ways to score points that we haven't had yet.
Well, maybe one more possession, and that may be it for some of the first teamers on the offensive side.
Well, I asked Coach Hedberg, the quarterbacks coach, in a perfect world this week, what happens, and he says all 3 of my guys play, and we're working our way toward that.
Mississippi Valley State, founded in 1950, about 2,500 students. Started football in 1953.
If you're a casual football fan and go, okay, Mississippi Valley State, why does that school's name sound so familiar? The name, Jerry Rice, that's why.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the sports world anyway, the most recognizable, student athlete who came out of that college.
Both Rice and Willie Totten, the quarterback at that time, really had a lot of success. Actually honoring those 2 men at a gala back in Itabena coming up here next, actually a little bit later this month. So this ball will be kicked off from the 20, and the Bison again should be set up with pretty good field position. Ty Brooks is deep. Giacomini puts his toe into it, and it's Ty Brooks from the 27. Brooks, an electrifying playmaker, picks his way, getting near midfield to about the 48-yard line.
Looking for the best selection of Bison fan here, look no further than Shields.
And Brooks, one of those guys that, what Cordy Messingham talked to us this week, he says he's really our change of pace back, and what we're really excited for Ty is we want to get him out in space, because we feel like when he gets in space, especially in a one-on-one situation, I like my guy over their guy.
And that's why he's back returning kicks. But one thing we should say too, that for this NDSU offense, how can you get more ready for a regular season game than playing against, for the last month, one of the best defenses in the country? It gets you ready.
It certainly does. Brooks getting the carry here, squeaking through a hole. Look how slippery little number 28 is. Gets down to the 36-yard line. Good enough for another first down.
We just talked about getting him in space. Well, no, he ran right up the middle and was congestion around him and did a good job.
Take a look at the answer to your trivia question, brought to you by the North Dakota Soybean Council. What percentage of North Dakota workers are employed in farm-related jobs? The answer, 24%.
Jeff Gordon's number, former number. Should have guessed that.
First and 10 for North Dakota State at the 36. Wentz in motion to the high side of your screen. Back to Brooks, power again, and Brooks sneaking away, still on his feet to the 15, and finally taken down by Tracy Tompkins after another big gain down to the 11.
Well, there's some of that one-on-one thing that we were talking about, Brian. Get Brooks head up against somebody, he can make him miss. Nodak Insurance Company replay where ISO'd on Ty, well blocked right up the, behind right guard again. Little bounce to the outside. He thinks for a moment I might be able to get to the end zone, but he gets it down to the 11.
North Dakota State, nearly 150 rush yards already here on the ground today.
Credit the offensive line. They are blowing guys up.
Stick to the air this time. Boy, Urzendowski, there isn't a guy within 20 yards of him, and he's got his second touchdown of the day.
You do not have to do much game prep to know that there's at least two guys out there that we better cover if we're playing NDSU. Number 20 and number 16. Well, number 16, Urzendowski, as you mentioned, Brian, they left him wide open in the slot. It is simple pickings. I mean, Stick can't get rid of the ball fast enough because Easton goes, I can't believe that my high school buddy can be this wide open. Safety blew it.
Peterson on for another extra point, and he boots it through, and North Dakota State has put 30 on the board in the first 12 minutes of this football game and lead it 30-0.
Still 3 minutes left to play in the opening quarter.
North Dakota State now 250 total yards already.
Wow.
165 of those on the ground.
While the Delta Devils have minus 23 total yards and a minus 27 on the ground.
Let's take a look at your NDSU fan cam. And they were out early. As a matter of fact, yesterday they started parking the rigs at about 6 a.m. to line up for tailgating. Yeah, that's yesterday they started doing that. There's a look at Mayor Tim Mahoney, the Fargo mayor, and of course the icon.
This season, $2,000 in hatch cash has been given to the event.
Well, I said that Bison could have 400 yards rushing, and I might have, if they wanted to keep these first teamers in, I meant 600.
Another kickoff, and again it's Tony, this time from 2 yards deep. How about Jabril Cox flying into your picture, number 42? That's one of those redshirt freshmen that you're going to get to know. This guy has impressed everybody throughout the spring and fall. 6'5", 225 pounds out of Raystown, Missouri.
There's number 42. We're looking at him, and he has closing speed. That's the type of thing you say that wide receivers have. Well, Cox does have that. He is going to be. He's one of those guys who you can put in the category. It's going to be extremely fun to watch him develop, because as he starts to understand the defense a little bit more, he has play-making talent.
One of those guys that flew under the radar in the recruiting process because he was mostly thought of as a quarterback, a dual threat quarterback where he was. Chris Kleiman said, shoot, let's put you on defense. Well, I think that's going to work out very well for Mr. Cox. Delayed handoff, O'Brien Anderson. Short gain of maybe a yard up to the 18. Boy, Blake Williams down there again, getting in on that tackle. He's been very active. Stanley Jones also there.
I mean, I know you have to try something, and again, we're still only in the first quarter, but to try to line up and physically move NDSU well enough to get a first down on the ground is not happening.
Let's take a look at your Bobcats scoring recap. 3 plays, 52 yards in just a minute 19 as Urzendowski makes the 11-yard touchdown reception. Play clock down to 4. And even, I think that looks like a broken play. He is buried back at the 5-yard line. And Nick DeLuca was back there. Caleb Butler.
Well, James Crosby is listed as a quarterback and tight end. He was in a tight end position that time. He was trying to run a short little drag off to the left, little naked bootleg, and he even just doesn't even have a chance. I mean, even on a 3-yard, this is a 3-step and make a cut type of a pass play. That wasn't even close to being open.
And number 49, boys, he looked forward to this moment since having season-ending shoulder surgery after the game at Iowa. Dislocated a shoulder, tried to play with it a couple weeks, eventually had surgery, and first time number 49 is getting a live reps in quite some time.
The thing that DeLuca does better than probably anyone else in the country at this level is he has such a feel for stopping the running game. It's impressive if you do nothing but just watch him, because we talked about running with patience, how Lance Dunn's pretty good at that. He tackles with patience. He never overruns the play. Sometimes you think he might be a little bit behind it, but no, he's always in the right place, always at the right time to make the play. So it's tough to beat number 49.
One thing for DeLuca too this spring and fall is he's learning a new position. He's actually playing on the outside and the will linebacker position over the Mike, because they have a little bit of depth there with Matt Plank and Dan Marlette. And Chris Kleiman said that's more of a playmaking position, so we expect big things out of 49 out there.
Coach Klanderman told me that, he goes, one of the things I like about DeLuca is he bench presses linemen off of him at will. Meaning he's a pretty strong kid too.
Even gonna air it out. McElfridge, and it is. Was it picked off?
No, incomplete.
Dempsey was there. Dempsey had 6 interceptions last year. First team All-Valley preseason. Almost came up with his first this year.
He was able to make a play on the ball, but even if Trey catches this clean, I don't think he comes down inbound with it. Goes up off his hands, through his hands. He might have had one toe down, but he didn't catch it clean. Perfect position, though. That's what a safety's supposed to do. You're giving your corner help from the top side.
McElfresh was the intended target there for even, and now Mississippi Valley doesn't have enough people on the field. Now they do.
Now they have too many.
Well, they may have to take another timeout.
Nope, they have the right amount. They started the play with 9.
Delay game, offense. After this is to the goal, remains 4th down.
Okay, we know that Mississippi Valley State physically cannot handle this game. The one thing Coach Gamaji and his coaching staff have to insist on is that you do the things schematically that you're supposed to do. You be in the right place. You be at the right time. If you're on this special team, you be ready. Those are the types of things when you're rebuilding a program that will drive the coaching staff nuts.
And he sent 15 guys with their walking paper, said we have to improve the attitude. You had too many guys that were frankly bringing too much of a sourpuss attitude in this locker room, and it hurt us. And now another penalty. Looks like somebody moved early.
Offense, number 54. After this is the goal, it remains 4th down.
And now the punter is really going to be backed up. Justin Reed is going to have to be very careful. He stays in the end zone, and Mississippi Valley's got to do everything they can to keep the Bison off him. Oh, another shank. Bounces at the 26, out of bounds at the 32, and North Dakota State will once again have a short field.
Looks like the first unit is going to get at least the first quarter. But those offensive linemen are having some fun right now.
Well, the surge that we're seeing is very one-sided. We're seeing Luke Bacon in at guard.
And at right guard, yep. Bacon's kind of the backup, if you will, for both of the positions on the right side.
Again, Dunn, big hole. Nice job by Amani Peoples coming from his backside defensive end position to make the tackle. Gain of 10.
Brock Robbins, the fullback, with a little kick out block along that left side.
We haven't talked about him much, but again, Zach J. Johnson saw some time last year, but he is a massive individual. When you stand next to him, he blocks out the sun. Got a young guy getting his opportunity. 6'6", 312 pounds, just a sophomore. Stick to the air. Urzendowski, another catch. Everett Nicholas on the coverage. Will be first and goal at the 6.
Okay, there's where we're talking about the quicking up of the passing game, the top of the drop. See how when Stick was planted his back foot, Urzendowski had already beat his man on a little bit of a post, kind of a skinny post, about a 5-yard pattern, then hard in, and then how quick the ball came out of his hand. That's what the Bison are trying to accomplish through the passing game this year. Not as much time of getting back there and reading and looking, and or is this guy open or is that guy open? Make your read on the drop, plant that right foot, and fire. Less complicated passing scheme this year.
And that will take us to the end of the first quarter, and it has been all North Dakota State. 30-0. Your first quarter score. Back with second quarter action after this on the KBOI KFYR Bison Network on your Ag Country Credit Services scoreboard. Back with the start of the second quarter, North Dakota State first and goal from the 6. Ty Brooks streaks through the hole, and he's got the touchdown as North Dakota State continues to roll on the ground here this afternoon.
36 points on the board already. Brooks had to make a pretty good move right into the heart of that play, designed, I think, to go A-gap right side. Felt just a little pressure, a little closed off there. Darted off to his left. It'll come right at you here on the Nodak Insurance Company replay. See, working off that block, makes a little cut to his left, and 6 yards in for 6 more points.
Cook is good. Kick is good for Peterson. 37-0 your score. Take another look at it here as Brooks puts his foot in the ground, darts through a quick hole, and Travian Jamison unable to get over there to make a play in time. And North Dakota State now with 181 rushing yards. Averaging 17.5 yards a play so far here this afternoon.
Well, I knew it was good. I didn't think it was that good. Considering how short a field the Bison have had, that's really an impressive number to average that many yards per play.
So North Dakota State will try to get some more guys into the special teams lineup, and this is the first chance we've had. Number 35 coming out on special teams is Josh Hayes. He is a true freshman from down in the Orlando, Florida area in Lakeland. And he is getting his red shirt pulled, getting an opportunity to play in his first college game today. Bobcats recap, 3 plays, 31 yards, and 1:14 capped off by the Ty Brooks touchdown run.
Hayes will be the second guy on the top of your screen, but he'll get some reps at corner as well. An injury to Dom Davis, I think, is one of the reasons that the Bison decided to pull his shirt.
Good deep kick this time by Wegner. Garrett Wegner in for this kickoff. And that'll be a touchback. The Delta Devils will start at their own 25-yard line.
I mean, every offensive possession that Mississippi Valley State has had, the negative yardage has continued to grow. Back to more of that look we saw early on, the 4 wides, no tight ends, single setback.
Bison still have most of their starting unit in there. There's a couple of different linebackers. Levi Jordheim in the game.
Bison did not go to nickel, though.
Even to Crenshaw, dropped at the 30.
Jordheim, nice closing speed with a pretty good lick, but NDSU decided to not bring the, oh, now the nickelback is in there. Watch Jordheim, number 45, sees where the ball is, squeezes down, uses that right hand to kind of punch that ball out of there. Interesting thing about Levi and guys like him in that how many years they have in the program, you know, you start getting into that 4th year. So you're redshirted, and now you played as a backup and you're getting more reps. That 4th year makes a big difference. You see a lot of players get playing time that go up at that.
Had to get rid of that thing. Holy smokes. Marquise Bridges was also in that corner, and that's one of the guys I think LT, you and I are excited to see how he does, making that transition from wide receiver to corner last year. Really good athlete out of De La Salle High School. Went 36-5 when he was in high school down there.
Well, Marquise, I think, has an opportunity to be a 25 to 35 snap guy, and he's learning the position. He's starting to get it down a little bit more. You know, he's still learning, obviously, but the thing he does very, very well is he is a good man-to-man defensive corner.
One thing Joe Klanderman talked about, has such good ball skills, not something you can teach. Bison showing pressure, and it looks like somebody from Mississippi Valley jumped as both Jordheim and Marlette were showing pressure from the linebacker spot.
Offense, number 74, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, it's easy to jump when you see 2 linebackers coming right at you, and you know that you can't. If you do it well, you're going to get one of them. But both backers squeezing into that A gap to the defensive would be the right side.
And you talked about this brutal stretch of games, having to go to Southern Illinois, Grambling, then to Charleston Southern. 4 of the first 5 games are on the road for Mississippi Valley State. Even across the middle, this one caught. a positive yardage play anyway. And for North Dakota State, a gang tackle as the reception was made by Darian Harper. There is a flag. Way back at the 20-yard line on the high side of your screen. Maybe somebody lined up wrong.
Well, I think there was a little bit of a jump from the left defensive end.
Number 94.
Yep.
5-yard penalty. It remains third down.
Oh, Stanley Jones was on the right side. I thought the pre-snap movement was on the left side, but he got back and Jones started a little quick.
You also see on the top of your screen there at defensive line, defensive end, number 77, Logan McCormick, another true freshman that is out of Kimberly, Wisconsin, the same high school that produced Colton Heagle. The Paper Cutters have won a lot of games in Wisconsin.
I love that nickname.
Even again, Flush might just take off and run with it. Able to escape once and then eventually pushed down and out of bounds, about 2 yards short of a first down to the 32.
Well, to go back to McCormick, I think it was been an interesting debate the last couple of weeks within the coaches and coaching staff on which one of the guys are we going to pull the red shirt from. Nodak Insurance Company replay, a positive play here from Mississippi Valley State, but McCormick, who is playing now, or Wagey. Those were the two freshmen who I think the coaches were trying to decide, boy, we want to play one of these kids, which one will it be?
And Chris Kleiman flat out said Monday it was going to be Wagey. Talked about it, so we're going to play him 25 snaps. He's the guy. But then we talked to Matt Entz Thursday, and it seemed like whatever happened that week, the script flipped because we've seen McCormick. Another high, short punt. Shepard ran into his own guy. A flag comes in. I think Aaron McConnell, one of the special teamers, a backup linebacker, fell on it anyway.
This may be impeding the opportunity to fair catch the ball, but I think the initial contact was from the Bison player, wasn't it?
It looked like it to me.
Because Mercadal was trying to make a block. At the same time, the catch was trying to be made.
That may be what the discussion is.
They may
here.
waive this off. This penalty may be waived off. Nodak Insurance Company replay. See 55, Mercadal there, trying to stay with his man and takes and knocks.
Kick catch interference.
They still
Number
called it.
37 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down, North Dakota State.
Yeah, that's a harsh penalty against them.
This officiating crew out of the Southland Conference. Jeremy Valentine, your White Hats. John Pugh, Nick Brigatti, Gary Schildmeyer, Tony Romano, Jim Rogers, and Dennis Jackson.
Media timeout.
Also, Jen Berkey is your field judge, a female official today. We'll take a quick timeout and be back with more. Cole Davis getting set to take the field at quarterback for NDSU. Back with the next North Dakota State drive. 13:22 to go here in the second quarter. We got a few backups in the game. Bruce Anderson the carry. Good push again up front as Bruce has a first down. Down to the 26-yard line. Cole Davis in the game at quarterback, and we have an offensive lineman down.
Yes, I did not catch the number, sitting on the 25-yard line on the far side.
Looks like Dylan Radens, the redshirt freshman we were talking about, who's made great leaps in his redshirt freshman year, and just hope it's nothing serious at this point.
His athletic ability for his size is something that does not come in a package very often. The redshirt freshman from Becker. Something on his right leg. But the Bison.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Gate City Bank. Gate City Bank has been serving customers and investing in a better way of life since 1923, with 36 locations in 19 communities across North Dakota and western Minnesota. I'm sure the coaching staff just hoping it was a little nick or a tweak there on Dylan Radens on his feet. He is walking under his own power, so we'll see how he's doing as the training staff takes a look at him.
But the Bison did bring in some new offensive linemen, and one of them I want to point out anyway is Zach Kubis. redshirt freshman walk-on from Dickinson, playing right guard. He wears number 61. And you talk about kids who, you know, have came in and all he was asking for was an opportunity. He passed up numerous scholarship opportunities at other Division II and NAI programs to have the chance to come here and walk on. And not only is he walk on, he is on the 2 deep, playing very well.
He earned himself a scholarship before too long. Davis will attempt his first pass, looking deep. It is incomplete. Pretty well thrown ball. Daniel Polanski, the former walk-on from Griglegatsky High School in Minnesota, had an opportunity but could not haul it in. Pretty good coverage that time by Everett Nicholas.
Yeah, one of those 50-50 balls. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Will be coming to your near side screen. The pass was a chance to be catchable, but he could not get both of his hands on it. He had his outside hand free, but just couldn't work that right hand up through the defensive back.
We'll bring up 2nd and 10 here for North Dakota State. Handoff to the outside for Anderson, and a nice job that time by the Mississippi Valley defense. Peoples was able to track down Anderson from behind and drag him down for no gain. Ryan Geller on the sidelines has more on Cole Davis.
Yeah, guys, a real interesting story on Cole Davis. Got a chance to talk to him earlier this week. He's a senior, but he was real open about, think about the guys he played behind. Now, he came in and sat for a couple of years, played behind Carson Wentz for a couple of years. Then he got a chance to battle for the starting quarterback spot with Easton Stick, did not win that. And as a senior, he said that he thought many, many times about transferring out of this program. But he said between this team, the heart of the coaches, some of his best friends playing in this program, and really the crowd atmosphere and playing at this game, he just couldn't bring it upon himself to leave this program. For him to even be here, he said to himself, is a little bit surprising, but he said North Dakota State has not only made me a better football player, it's made me a better person as well.
I feel happy for Cole getting an opportunity to play. And
now he'll do his special teams duties as the holder.
His dad actually earned a scholarship to play football in Nebraska, ended up playing baseball for the Huskers in the early to mid 80s, and then went on to play professionally in the Cardinals and Twins organizations. This field goal attempt is up and off the upright. No good. So Peterson, good leg, but just missed it by that much. The score remains 37-0 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Back at Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome. A new quarterback in here on this possession for Mississippi Valley State. Christopher Fowler, a freshman out of Apache Junction, Arizona. Jet even, just 1 of 10 for 4 yards. This one dumped off in the flat and then dropped. And I think the Bison got on top of it. Board was in there.
I don't know if Board caught it clean either, but he comes up with it. Well, you're just trying to get a guy in space to make a move on the outside, one-on-one, and he just flat drops it. No contact there, straight turnover.
Andre Eubanks caught the ball and then just lost the handle. And Eubanks actually played his high school football at Minnetonka High School in the Twin Cities.
Chris Board covering it up on our Nodak Insurance Company instant replay. And about the position the Bison offense had the ball the last time they were out there. Sean Engel going high and wide to the field.
Desmond Kane back in, and also Garrett Malmstrom, and at fullback did a nice job filling in last year when Brock Robbins went down. And he's a load.
The play was a forward pass, which was complete and then fumbled, recovered by North Dakota State. That play is under further review.
They're going to review whether it was completed or not, whether he had enough possession of it.
I think Coach Comagee asking for that one.
I sure thought he had possession of it.
It looked like he caught the ball and made at least a couple of steps. Replay official look at it. See what he comes up with. Replay official is Dennis Jackson up in the booth today.
That's got to be a thankless job, don't you think? To be the replay official.
Here's a look at it.
Oh,
yeah, it looks to me like that is a fumble.
Yep.
Just had the ball and lost it.
And then you see Chris Board jumping on top of it.
Ryan Gellner, sideline, has an injury update for us, Ryan.
Yeah, guys, it is certainly a right knee for Dylan Radens, but it is good news for him. They have allowed him to at least put his knee brace back on, and if he feels up to it, he will go again.
Complete forward pass.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised.
The 25-yard line will be 2nd and 10 for Mississippi Valley State. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 11 minutes, 58 seconds, 11:58.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for that update. And that's certainly good news for Radens, that it's nothing structurally bad enough to keep him out. One of those guys they're really excited to see his progress this year. So the Bison defense back out on the field. I still believe that was a catch. I was surprised that was overturned.
I was just going to say, isn't that interesting? We all looked at the same replay and came up with differing conclusions. That's why I think it's a thankless job.
Fowler.
Option.
Eubank, or excuse me, yeah.
Hayes.
DeAndre Eubanks gets another carry, this time 2 yards up to the 27.
And Josh Hayes, the true freshman, on that outside corner position, kind of closing down and making that tackle. We told you he would get some reps today in that corner position. Well, it's a different style of a play call because of who is out there with the quarterback. I don't think that play gets called if Evans out there as quarterback. You have Fowler, the young kid, with a little option pedigree.
Matt Beegler getting into the game as well. And Beegler, kind of a local guy from Underwood, Minnesota, played at Underwood High School. Inside handoff. Eubanks runs it up in there. Jalen Wimbush in on that tackle. Cole Karch.
And also DeLuca.
Looks like Trey Dembski may stay into the game here. Be the punt returner as Darius Shepard is giving him some instructions.
And he's not that deep. And of course, today we have not seen a really booming punt come off the foot of that young man yet.
That's probably his best one. Dempsey calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 39.
I'll agree with you. I think that was his best punt. Penalty back around where the punter was.
Running into the kicker, defense number 53. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
So Cole Karch for running into the kicker. That will be a first down for Mississippi Valley State.
Here's a little ISO. Ball off his foot. 5 yards for barely touching the punter, but the call's the call and you move on. He didn't hit him very hard.
And that is the first down for Mississippi Valley State in the football game today. So Fowler back in at quarterback, James Millage in at tailback for this possession. Millage gets the call. Not much room to roam. Taken down at the line of scrimmage. James Hendricks, the safety, got in there to make the tackle.
I was isolated on Matt Plank on that play. I wanted to see how he made his read and how he attacked that running play. He did. He wasn't in on the tackle, but you'll see number 44 kind of come in right there on the top side and take up 3 different white shirts to allow his teammates to stay free. So Board saw the run. He came up, initiated contact, and allowed his safety to come and make the play.
Well, there's Hendricks, and his brother is actually the starting quarterback at Gustavus Adolphus. His brother Mitch, and Fowler will keep it this time. Gain about 1 yard.
I like that campus, St. Peter. They used to do a lot of basketball games from their gym back in the day. Which was over 30 years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah, correct. The Bison defense just felt without as much tape work and all that, it's tough to prepare for. So do you expect the unexpected? That was one of the things the Bison coaches were looking forward to.
Fowler throws it up for grabs. There's nobody back there for Mississippi Valley State, and intercepted by James Hendricks. We just talked about him. And Hendricks comes up with the pick. The first of his career.
I thought it was Christian Sutton, number 87, who runs the out. He breaks off the pattern. There you see, nope, 81 was the kid who broke off the pattern. And Hendricks is just doing what free safeties are supposed to do, be the deepest man. That's about as easy as an interception will get. James has his.
Well, Hendricks' father was actually an NAI All-American, was the co-NSIC Offensive Player of the Year at MSU Moorhead in 1985. And it was a coach's kid, 2-year quarterback, won a couple of section titles. Up at Bemidji, very smart, heady player. That's what the coaching staff at NDSU raves about with Hendricks. Brooks tiptoes as one of the Mississippi Valley Delta Devils loses their helmet.
Well, giving Brooks an opportunity to see how he does in traffic, and so far today he's played very well inside those tight positions. I mean, he scored a touchdown from in there. Here just getting some tough yards. Nothing opens for him. No seam is open on that particular play. I believe it was his own blocking scheme, so he just took what he could get, and in this case, about 2 yards. Maybe 3.
Brooks had a little bit of room that time, close to a first down, about a yard short from the 36.
Well, it depends on what the Bison want to work on at this particular stage. They obviously have a 37-point lead, but there's the single one-on-one man press coverage on the outside. So if Davis wants to, he can probably check to one of those guys, but the Bison are you know, like I say, they want to work on a few things. They want to give Brooks an opportunity to get a few more carries. They want to get some of these kids from the offensive line in pull positions. So get them out front and pull to make it a 3rd and 1.
You got everybody on the line of scrimmage here on 3rd and short. Brooks lunges ahead. It's
going to be close, but I think short.
Yeah, Jones came in from the backside, the defensive tackle Brian Jones, number 64, and pulled Brooks back. That was just a matter of the spot. And like you said, LT, I think he came up maybe the nose of the football short.
Nodak Insurance replay. Malmstrom trying to move that pile. It didn't quite work. Delta Devils did a pretty good job of taking that that play off tackle on the left side, jumbling it up. Number 64 there, Jones. The guy that the Bison coaching staff from the defensive lineman identified as probably their best kid.
Looks like the same play. Brooks bouncing it outside. He's got room. Ty Brooks. Goodbye. Touchdown.
A play designed to get a yard, and the Bison get all of them for another touchdown. And those yards on the ground just keep on racking up. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Brooks sees the bounce. There is no, nobody closes the edge on the defensive side, so it's a pretty easy read for Ty to bounce that thing and turn it up. Well, we've talked about James Hendricks moving positions and things like that. Well, Ty kind of was a man without a position for a while, and looks like he's finding a nice role.
There was some talk about Ty Brooks being a corner, playing on the defensive side of the ball when he came in from Fargo South. He's now got 7 carries, 92 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and the Bison lead at 44-0 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard. Garrett Wegner on to boot this one away. Redshirt freshman, 184 pounds. Out of Lodi High School in Wisconsin. Also really a punter is what he was brought in to do, but certainly has shown his leg strength. And this one angled towards the 10, and Chambers is going to get the opportunity at the 11. Stopped in its tracks, put on the brakes. Got going again and up to the 25-yard line.
I didn't play a lot
in college, but I did play on the kickoff team, and it was one of the most fun and most terrifying things all at the same time. You're sprinting down there, and you've got your eye on that guy with the ball, and you never know when you're going to get blasted.
So Fowler out again for another series here for Mississippi Valley State. Jabril Cox coming on a pressure, and boy, that had no chance from the beginning. NDSU all over it once again. Loss of about 6 yards back to the 20.
Well, you see the outside edge, and you have to make sure that someone's coming. See the high side? Cox kind of closing it down, and then the inside swallows him up.
Ryan Geller on the sidelines has an interview for us, Ryan.
Hey guys, Matt Larson, the athletic director at North Dakota State University. Nice enough to swing by and say hi a little bit, Matt. Boy, 6.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. You look up at the scoreboard in this one, and you got this one handled.
Well, no, I mean, obviously just proud of our guys. I mean, they came out, they're competing really well. You know, good opportunity now as you look out on both offense and defense. Opportunity to get some of our younger guys in and kind of really see what our depth looks like. And, you know, wasn't sure if it was going to happen this early, but, you know, proud of the effort so far by our guys.
How do you perceive a game like this? Because in one sense, it's a blowout, and what can you gain out of a blowout? But in the other sense, you're getting to see the depth, which you didn't see a year ago from your football team early on in the season, because there were so many close games.
Well, and that's the thing, going into a game like this, you don't know how it's going to go, and obviously, you know, had a lot of success early, both offensively and defensively. So this is a really good opportunity. We didn't get the opportunity last year in the non-conference to really see what our depth looks like, and so to be able to do this, get Cole Davis in there today, get a lot of our backups. Great to see Jamin Hendricks with his first tackle and interception, guy who comes from quarterback transitions to safety. So this is a good opportunity for our coaches to evaluate, you know, where that depth is and how those younger guys are going to react in a game situation.
Let's start talking just a little bit about the state of Bison athletics. Your volleyball team is playing well right now. You've got a new softball complex coming, so things are really exciting in your office.
Really pleased and happy for Jen Lopez and the volleyball program. Jen's a natural. She comes from a coaching background. Her mom was a longtime high school coach, and so Jen's a natural, and so really proud of where the team is at this year, 2-0 so far on the weekend. Their terms they'll play again at 6 o'clock tonight, and then exciting, we broke ground on the softball stadium for Darren Mueller and the softball program. Something that's been a long time coming. That program deserved it. They're always right outside of the top 25, beat Oklahoma last year, and so it's time for them to have a Division I home. And so phase 1 will be done this fall, and then we'll break ground for phase 2 at the end of next season.
Thanks for taking the time, Matt.
Hey, appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks a lot.
That is the state of the Bison athletics, guys. They're in good hands right now. This one in good hands. We'll go back upstairs.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Your first International Bank and Trust sideline report at Mississippi Valley State, able to get a couple of positive plays. We saw a pretty long reception by Eric Collins. And now the Delta Devils inside Bison territory.
The Collins catch, the first down that the offense has gotten today.
Outside of the penalty, of course.
The offense. I'm not counting. I'm not counting the penalty. The Bison gave them that first down. I meant as an offensive unit.
Bison bring pressure.
Right play call.
Yeah, Fowler got rid of it. There's room to run. And how about the speed busted out by Kyle Harris? Dragged down at the 2-yard line, but a big play there for Mississippi Valley State.
Well, when that play was developing, you heard me say the right play call. That's because the blitz was coming from the field side, the wide side, and that is right where the screen pass was made. Nodak Insurance Company replay. And then Kelly, I think it's Darren Kelly who keeps away from the touchdown. Yeah, the knee was down, I guess, in between the 1 and the 2. Pretty good speed.
Really good speed there by Harris, the junior out of Los Angeles, California. And Mississippi Valley State knocking on the doorstep, looking for its first touchdown of the game, first points of the game. Fowler throws it over the head of his intended target. Darian Harper incomplete, just not quite enough time to let that play develop, but it looked like it might have been there had he just waited another second or so.
Well, the route was an interesting one, a long developing one, because the man was in the slot. He's trying to get Hendricks to suck up to him and then turn it up over to the far corner. here in the Nodak Insurance Company replay. See the little hesitation. Hendricks comes up, sees his man, and then tries to get back and make the coverage.
Fowler under center, dropped the snap, and then got back on top of it, I think.
Yeah, I think he did too.
So 3rd and goal coming up.
That Fowler, the freshman, is showing some signs of life, though, giving his team some of that from an offensive standpoint. So if you're the Delta Devils and you're auditioning quarterbacks, so far, not too bad.
Fowler will operate out of the shotgun here on 3rd and goal from the 1.5. Fowler keeps it, touchdown.
Now that was an option play, and he was looking right at Jalen Winbush. Winbush couldn't close off the inside fast enough, and the young man did the right thing, kept it, turned it up. Here's 23, Winbush on a blitz. That's the man you read. He made the right read.
So Nico Giacomin will attempt the point after. His brother Christian is actually the kicker at Jackson State, and he was recruited by Rick Kameji, who was then the head coach at Jackson State. So when he got to Mississippi Valley State, needed a kicker, stayed in the same family, both from the Miami area. And the kick is good, and Mississippi Valley State is on the board with 2:49 to go here until halftime.
Well, if you're the Delta Devils, I know you got to feel good that you got some points on the board. And as an offensive coordinator, you made the right play call at the right time, took advantage of the blitz, got it down to the 1, and then finished it.
So Mississippi Valley State now, at least positive yardage, 55 total yards. North Dakota State 337 so far, the total yardage department in the first half. We're already seeing a few folks clear out of FARGODOME here this afternoon. Take a look at your Bobcats scoring drive for Mississippi Valley State. Made a couple of nice plays. Receiving core, wide receivers, and the running backs. 9 plays, 74 yards, and 416 capped off by Fowler. Taking it in on the option. Ty Brooks is deep for North Dakota State. Brooks will come up to take this one at the 10. Following blocks, bursts through a hole, and now we'll see the speed of Ty Brooks. The flag comes in late. Brooks inside Delta Devil territory. Look how slippery number 28 is, down to the 28-yard line. But again, a flag back in Bison territory at the 32.
I think the flag's a hold on Matt Anderson. We'll wait to see, but I thought that's where I saw the tangle.
Holding, number 88 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, North Dakota State.
So that will negate the long return from Ty Brooks.
Because that penalty gets marked off from where the spot of the foul. See if you can check number 88. There's Anderson will come into the play. No, we didn't. Yeah, there it is, right at the top of your screen at the 35. That's where. And then Ty Brooks is able to bust a couple of tackles and stay on his feet and get it all the way down inside the other 30, even though the ball's coming back.
Well, today's game is brought to you in part by Gate City Bank. Show your Bison pride with an NDSU Gate City Bank ATM and check card. Visit gatecitybank.com/mycard.
Well, this second unit would certainly like to get a little bit of a drive going.
Damaris Purifoy getting his first carry of the afternoon. Taken down by Tracy Tompkins after a gain of about 2.5.
A little bit of a stretch play, 22 personnel, meaning 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. Single wideout to the high side of the field. Purifoy with an opportunity to try and
get into that spot where he is, you know, the next guy in line. Obviously Dunn, you know, we know that the two guys, Dunn and Anderson, and we've seen that Ty Brooks is probably, you know, got that spot. But who's going to be the guy after those three? Well, Damaris is trying to prove today that he could be it.
Davis out to Ty Brooks in space. Brooks working around a block to midfield and taken down after a good gain inside Delta Devil territory down to the 47-yard line. Tackle made out there by Jared Emanuel.
One of the things I like on this play, Brian, is number 13, Kane. You know, he may not catch a pass today, but he did put a pretty good block out there. And if you're going to have big plays from running backs, it's usually a wide receiver down the field who's making a block. So there's no better way to have your teammates really like what you do when you're not catching passes than to go out, get downfield, and make a block.
And off inside to Purifoy. Cuts it back up inside. Tompkins in on another tackle along with Harbin after a gain of 9.
Gain of 9. Nodak Insurance Company replay. A little isolation here in Purifoy. Bison motion through to take one more player away from the boundary side, and NDSU figures that one-on-one we're going to win that battle, and they did.
Ticking down towards 35 seconds remaining here until halftime, and again it's Purifoy through a hole. Purifoy showing a good burst, that time getting to the 26 for a first down. Clock will stop momentarily.
Another young kid in there at right offensive tackle right now is Cordell Volson. He and Kubis on that right side. I know Randy Hedberg, because Randy recruits North Dakota. He loves the fact that the Bison have 5 9-man offensive linemen that all have the opportunity to contribute.
Clock stops and a timeout taken by Mississippi Valley State with 11 seconds to go here until halftime.
30 seconds in length.
Of course, we have the 2 Volsons, you know, in that group. Luke Bacon, Mesner, and then I don't think Schuning has played yet today, but he will.
Next week, LT and I and our NBC, KBOI, KFYR production crew will be in Cheney, Washington as North Dakota State takes on Eastern Washington. The Eagles matching up today at Texas Tech, trailing 7-3 in the second quarter. That should be a fun one out on the red turf of Roos Field.
Last year, obviously, it was a big-time shootout, overtime game here at the FARGODOME. Be interested to see how much shooting that Eastern can do against one of those Power 5 teams today.
Play action. Davis across the middle. Intended target was Engel, who looked like he broke off the route with 5 seconds to go. Incomplete.
I don't know if that one's on Sean as much as that's a good defensive play, because that was a post. Engel was supposed to keep coming right down till he got to about the hash marks, but the safety took him off that play. So that was a really solid job by the safety on that particular play, Campbell, number 22.
Cam Peterson will attempt a 43-yard field goal here to end the first half. Peterson missed earlier off the upright. We'll see if he can boot one through here.
About the same distance.
Low liner. Didn't look good, and it's no good. And that will end the first half. North Dakota State leading 44-7. Ryan Gellner will try to catch a word with Chris Kleiman as he heads off the field. And now Ryan is standing by with head coach Chris Kleiman.
All right, the head coach at North Dakota State, Chris Kleiman, does join us. Chris, 44-7 in the first half. You see enough from the starters that you like it?
Yeah, I really do. The starters have done a nice job. We're playing fast. We're making some errors, but in reality, we're playing pretty well. It's just got to get our backups to calm down a little bit and play football.
Yeah, the second string gave up a touchdown. That probably didn't make you happy.
No, but they're going to make some mistakes. That's why they're the backups, but there's some guys we're going to count on, so we got to keep working them.
Good luck the second half. That's head coach Chris Kleiman, guys.
All right, thank you so much, Ryan. Stay tuned for the Proceed halftime reports. Beth Hool and Alex Egan are standing by with first half analysis, highlights, and more. That's coming up On the KBOI KFYR Bison Network, North Dakota State well on their way to moving to 1-0. All right, thanks so much. Brian, Sean, Lee Timmerman back with you as we are ticking down towards the start of the second half. Ryan Gellner had a chance to catch up with Mississippi Valley State's head coach, Rick Comegee.
That in the first half, I thought we played a little bit better, but I think we were a little bit nervous, and they got to us. They executed well. They did some good things, and we just got to catch up now and settle down and play our football now.
What's the biggest thing that surprised you?
Well, I guess maybe just their execution. They executed very well, and you know, we're making some mistakes, and what surprised me also is they're handling us up front real well. They're stronger than us up front right now.
And quickly, your message at halftime was?
Settle down. Let's get into our game. We got something on the board, one at a time. Let's get better as our football team and not worry about all the rigmarole going on. Let's get better at what we can do better. Let's start playing some second guys and let's start seeing what we got so that as we go down the road, we know what we have on this football team. This is our opener, and so we got to find out who can play and who can't.
Coach, I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Back upstairs, guys.
All right, thanks so much. Get rid of the Rizmaraz. Can't worry about all that stuff. And for Mississippi Valley State, I thought they did settle in when the second unit got in, when Fowler got into quarterback LT. They did show some signs of life moving the ball down the field against some of the Bison backups.
And hit a couple of big plays. When you do that and you get some points, yes, it might not be against the first unit, but at any points.
Go. Yeah, Marquise Bridges back deep this time, and Daniel Polanski also back there. So North Dakota State will try to get some extended reps here, especially to the 2s and 3s here in the second half. This one booted towards the sideline and taken by Polanski at the 9. Polanski stays on his feet to about the 27-yard line before he is taken down. Bunch of different Delta Devils in on that tackle, including Adrian Campbell.
But in terms of the depth chart, though, that was one of the things the Bison really wanted to have happen today. We're seeing it. Extended reps for guys like, well, there's, you know, Kubis is getting some extended reps. You know, Cordell Volson on the right side of the offensive line. So this is their time to prove that they should be, you know, where they are on that depth chart.
Ty Brooks getting the call again and going nowhere that time, back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all.
Ty, of course, was the kid who had the most yards. He had 92 yards rushing, and then the quarterbacks.
Take a look at your quarterback stats and analysis by Cole Davis, part of your North Dakota Beef Commission quarterback comparison. 1 completion, 4 attempts. Nice job. Did not throw the ball a ton in that first half. Brooks on the end around in space, puts a juke on one man and another.
That's done.
Oh, that's done with the carry who stuck into the game. And Lance Dunn might go to the 10. Lance Dunn, touchdown. Wow. Wow.
Well, do you know when I could tell it wasn't Ty running it and it was Dunn running it? When he planted his left foot and cut. Watch this on the Nodak Insurance Company replay. Right there. That's what he can do so well, is bouncing off. I mean, he's a strong kid too. And then he turns on the speed. A little bit of everything. Really good plant, strength to break tackles, and speed to finish.
73 yards on that touchdown run from Lance Dunn, who has 7 carries for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. The Bison 334 rushing yards, and we still got a long way to go in this football game. The extra point is good, and North Dakota State leads it 51-7.
I mean, the Bison had a plus 333 in total yards before that play.
Boy, the burst from Dunn through that hole and just bouncing off tacklers.
You know, Bruce Anderson brings some real good versatility. We're not going to see it out of Bruce in this game. We didn't. He's going to play some in the slot. He's going to run some jet. You know, Dunn is, in my mind anyway, the most impressive ball carrier that the Bison have, and we just were privileged to see why.
Well, Dunn's father played football at Mankato, an All-Valley preseason pick.
One more look before the kickoff. Boom. And then see how the shoulder square after 2 steps. He cuts and step and a half, shoulder square. That's how you can absorb that impact, keep your momentum going forward, and then give yourself an opportunity to crank up the speed.
Dunn just 4 yards short of 1,000 yards last season, 996. Did lead the Valley, averaging 6 yards per carry last season. Peterson with another Peterson Farm Seed kickoff. Kick off your planting season with Peterson Farm Seed. This is Farine Toney, who's going sideways, and that's a bad idea. Gets to about the 10-yard line before he's eventually pushed out of bounds as the Bison gave chase.
Darren Kelly almost got him back around the 5. But what, I mean, just to go back to the, you know, the average, the 6-yard rushing average that Dunn had. Well, Anderson had 6.7. Those are your 2 top guys, all averaging over 6 yards a rush.
There's your scoring recap. 2 plays, 73 yards, all 73 on the Lance Dunn touchdown run, just 47 seconds. As Fowler will bring the Mississippi Valley State offense on the field for the first time here in the second half. Fowler's number's pretty good in that first half. 5 of 7, 79 yards. Did throw the interception.
Now Justice Kelly getting some reps on left defensive end.
O'Brien Anderson, wow, how about James Hendricks flying in?
If there was a question mark about the move from quarterback to safety for Hendricks, is how is he going to tackle? How well will he tackle in space? Well, Hendricks has shown today, not just here, but a couple of different times, make the read, trust the read, and fire yourself upfield. He did it perfectly on that play.
Darren Kelly also in at safety. And extended reps for the true freshman, Josh Hayes from Lakeland High School, Lakeland, California. And this ball, incomplete. Booker Chambers the intended target, but that thing airmailed well over his head. Will bring up 3rd and long. Chambers started off the game strong for Mississippi Valley State with that 55-yard kickoff return. The Delta Devils went backwards 15 yards and could not take advantage of it.
I'm actually struggling right now to try and decide what I want to watch. Jordheim and Marlette, how are they going to do as a quarterback tandem? I want to see the young kid Hayes in some one-on-one coverage. You know, some new guys getting opportunities to have their hands down on the field and make some plays.
Well, Justice Kelly, number 56 out of Milwaukee, a walk on.
He's been in on this whole possession. Down.
Fowler stayed on his feet, still on his feet, eventually taken down back at the 3-yard line.
I think it might have been Jordheim, the guy who missed him initially, was able to spin back around and get in on the tackle.
So a good defensive possession that time.
Let's see if we can watch it together on the Nodak Insurance Company replay. Jordheim, there he 45. Well, no, Levi will get right back up and then get back in on the tackle. There he did.
Number 3, Trey Dempsey is hit. Number 46, Justin Reed in punt formation.
And Trey Dempsey back to return this one. Calls for the fair catch and taken at the 39. We'll take a quick timeout. North Dakota State in control of 51-7 on a short field when we come back. Back here at the FARGODOME, Gate City Bank Field, North Dakota State starting at the Mississippi Valley 39-yard line, and Dimitri Williams gets the carry on the end around and picks his way, picks up 4 to the 35. And Adrian Campbell making the stop for Mississippi Valley.
Luke Bacon playing at least his 2nd position now. We've seen him at right guard, now he's at left tackle. Zemer playing some guard. Nope, he's in at center.
Back to the power game. More room up the middle, and good enough for a first down for Bruce Anderson up to the 26.
A flag came into the pile late, Brian, so I'm not sure if there was a extra hold or something going on with that play. Real good push,
Holding.
though.
Offense number 73. 10-yard penalty. Remains second down.
That's Zemer, the center, called for the penalty.
Zemer's trying to look up at the big board here and see if he can see what he did wrong. Here's the replay right in the middle of that.
Tough to really see.
He may have grabbed the back of a shoulder pad or something and gave a little extra push.
So we'll redo second down, 2nd and 8.
You like the way they fired off the ball, though, that last play.
Anderson in space, getting some space. Oh, nice shoestring tackle there by Jared Emanuel, or Bruce may have gone a lot further than he got.
I was making an assumption that Anderson was going to get past that guy. I was looking downfield to see if Kane was able to sustain his block long enough to let Anderson try to break one here like his running mate did last play. I just thought he would get past, and then you talk about the shoe top tackle. There's one right there.
So 3rd and 2 coming up here for the Bison offense. They'll run it again. Good room this time. Anderson cuts it back up at the 20, still on his feet. Bruce Anderson, touchdown. But a flag, so hold on.
Flag at the 13. There was some really nice blocking going on there, and the kid that I looked at was Schoening. Carson Schoening, number 59, did a nice job, I thought, to get around, help open up some things. So these 2nd and 3rd unit guys are really getting a good push offensively.
Personal foul, illegal block below the waist. Offense number 34. That 15-yard penalty is enforced from the spot of the foul. It leaves us beyond the line of the game, resulting in a first down.
So a first down for North Dakota State, but Brock Robbins called for that penalty on the block below the waist.
There's Robbins leading the play, 34. And his first engage, yeah, he tried to dive and cut. Downfield, you can't do that. Got to stay up top. Your initial has to be above the waist. Your initial contact has to be above the waist.
So that wipes out the touchdown run from Anderson. But again, it does give the Bison a first down. Ty Brooks working off tackle. Boy, he is a slippery little guy to bring down. Eventually taken down by Jamenta Shaw after a gain of close to 6.
Does that get Ty over 100 today?
He's going to be about 2 yards really short. Close. Yeah, maybe a yard or 2 short.
But on a first down play, you know, like we've talked about, these obviously are not the starters on the offensive line, but watch the push that these guys are getting as a unit. This again is a benefit of going against first team defense a lot in fall camp.
Davis drops and throwing, looking for Desmond Kane, and a flag comes in. 2 flags come in. Shaw was on the coverage for the Delta Devils, and that will be pass interference.
Yeah, field judge and back judge both saw that one. As Kane's trying to look back over one of his
pass
shoulders.
Interference, defense number 14. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
He had to slow up just a little bit on the tail end of this. Nodak Insurance Company replay. Look at that was, well, that arm was in there early. That's an easy call. A lot of calls for pass interference are tough calls to make. That was not one of them.
So NDSU a 1st and goal at the 7 after the penalty. Ben Elfson will actually line up at tailback, and now will flex back into tight end. Another good power run as Anderson takes it inside the 5 down to about the 3.
That goes back to that versatility, what you can do with the number of tight ends that NDSU has. And there's a reason that Coach Roll has fullbacks, tight ends, because a lot of times those guys are interchangeable. So they kind of, as one group, through meetings and everything, they're together, because they'll motion, some will go tight.
Anderson trying to get around the edge, but Mississippi Valley State gang tackles Anderson right at the line of scrimmage. Will bring up 3rd and goal.
At first it looked like Anderson was able to get the edge, but then he was cut off really nicely on the outside. Play turned back in, and then Anderson couldn't power it back through.
Like Garrett Eldred was the guy that turned that thing back in on the edge. Kane and Engel are the 2 receivers. Anderson remains in the backfield. Davis working out of the shotgun here on 3rd and goal. Davis across the middle, caught, touchdown, Ben Ellefson. The Hawley, Minnesota product has his first touchdown at North Dakota State.
Davis had pretty good options on both sides. He ended up going to the tight end side. Ellefson just went to about the 7-yard mark of the end zone and kind of hooked up. Otherwise, there was a man open on the wide side to the right and one on the wide side to the left.
I was going to say, Bruce Anderson in the flat had no one with about 10 yards of him either. Peterson knocks through the extra point. It's 59-7 on the Ag Country Farm Credit Services scoreboard as Davis hits his tight end Ellefson. Bison leading big here with 8:32 to go in the 3rd quarter. Today's game is brought to you in part by Gate City Bank, and for a limited time only, receive $700 off your mortgage closing costs. For more details, visit gatecitybank.com/betterhomeloans. Tell you what, I don't know much about the Mississippi State Police, but I know that their officers dress the part, look the part.
They look serious about it.
And they look like they're taking it very seriously on their way out here to North Dakota. So welcome to our friends in blue from Mississippi.
One of the gentlemen at halftime we were riding in the elevator with from Mississippi Valley State he was complimentary of the facilities that NDSU has up here.
And I was very complimentary to him about the marching band out of Mississippi Valley State. They put on a heck of a show. I had a chance to go to the game NDSU played down there in 2007. Booker Chambers with the return. Flag comes in as he's taken down at about the 17-yard line. Eric Bachmeyer in on special teams that time. He's part of that tackle.
There is no foul on the previous play. The block into question was legal. First down, Mississippi Valley State.
So they'll pick up the flag, and the Delta Devils will come back out with this drive starting at the 17-yard line.
Redshirt freshman Victor Kichovsky was also in on that particular tackle.
He's been pretty active in special teams here.
From Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
That's right. So Fowler will remain in the game.
Or if you want to have fun with anyone from Wisconsin, just say Wisconsin, and it immediately makes them angry.
Fowler will roll, set, and fire, and it's caught. That pass right on target and caught by Eric Collins. We'll pick up about 5.
Jabril Cox on the tackle, showing some closing speed. It's his job to try to get out there in the flat and close that down.
Take a look at your Bobcat scoring recap. 8 plays, 39 yards, and just under 4 minutes. Ben Ellefson making the touchdown reception. Again, the Bison probably would have had that touchdown much earlier if not for penalties. Fowler fires on the run and complete. Oh, it was incomplete. It was dropped at the final moment there. Intended target was Markurian Johnson.
Bridges on the coverage.
So did Marquise, is probably through spring and fall now, so he's starting to get the hang of it. Still has quite a bit to learn in his move to defensive back.
So 3rd and 4 coming up here for Mississippi Valley State. Fowler trying to get everybody organized here with 5 on the play clock. Fowler finds a crease, but he cannot get away. And got back to the line of scrimmage, and that is about it. Nice job again by Beegler, who's been playing extended reps. The Underwood, Minnesota native.
Yep, another one of those redshirt freshmen that are getting a lot of looks here this afternoon.
Number 3, Trey Dempsey is deep to receive for the Bison. Number 46.
Last punt, Dempsey had his hand waving before the kick was even off. So I think that Trey is probably told, you know, don't even try to return it. Just make the fair catch. Everybody be safe. Get off the field. Make it clean. Kind of the same thing again.
Trey decides to get out of the way this time as the ball takes an NDSU roll back into Mississippi Valley State territory to the 46.
Well, I like the work that the offensive line continues to do.
Davis will bring the offense out again. And it's one of those things, too, when we talked with Courtney Messingham, and I know you talked to Coach Hedberg about this, too, is we've got to see these guys in live game action to see what they're like when the bullets start flying, to find out who we can really rely on, and then how many snaps we can get out of them every game. That's another thing, important thing to figure out.
Well, I know Coach Hedberg has a lot of confidence in number 7, the guy you're looking at right there. The next guy who I think is going to get a chance to play today, too, they want him to get some live reps.
Boy, Ty Brooks and his feet, how he stepped through that hole, was able to dart out to about the 34 and pick up a first down. Now Ty is over 100 yards. Came up a little gimpy after that run.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Yeah, he's kind of, that's a thing you just have a feel for. You know, you either have it or you don't. And if you don't, you get drilled a lot. And Brooks Ty is going to come off, but you know, that just innate instinct.
Purifoy back in the game. Play action here for Davis. Fires on the run and overshot his receiver Desmond Kane at about the 20-yard line.
Yeah, Davis is going to be upset at himself on that one. He had Kane open and he just threw it too high. He's trying to get those shoulders, especially your right shoulder, when you're rolling to your left. You need to get that thing tucked back about as far as you can to get the ball down. He didn't quite do it and sailed on him. But that's a pass that Davis will tell you that he needs to connect with.
Second and 10. Trips to the near side of your screen. Davis on target. First reception in a Bison uniform for Desmond Kane. And how about the electricity from this young man? Had a huge freshman year at Illinois. I mean huge. Caught 10 catches, 10 passes for over 100 yards against Ohio State. Was actually the second leading receiver on the team.
Yep, and that was his freshman year. And then last year, he had some issues with the knee and only played in 5 games last year and kind of got lost in the numbers, which is one of the reasons that the opportunity to come to NDSU. And when he made that decision, I mean, he came early. He was here this summer, and that helps.
Yeah, started 5 games as a freshman, but again, as you mentioned, missed 6 games and only caught 6 balls last year. So another weapon for this offense. Purifoy dragged down after a gain of maybe 2. Harbin in there to make the stop.
But the thing you like about that play is how it finished. Okay, it's not going to break all the way, but both of those arms were around the ball, and that's the fundamental thing that the running backs coach is looking for.
Ryan Gellner has an update on an injury situation on the sidelines. Ryan?
Yeah, guys, you were just talking about a Ty Brooks who you saw limp off the field. It seems to be a calf for him. They are working on both calves, working on stretching out Ty Brooks. Looks like he's going to be okay. He ran up and down the sidelines a couple times. They came back again, stretched both calves, so maybe a little bit of cramping issue there. But Ty Brooks is back for the Bison.
All right, thanks, Ryan. And a Flag coming in on that pass attempt from Davis to Kane, and again they're going to get Shaw.
And for the pass interference.
Pass interference, defense number 14. That foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line by rule. Automatic first down.
Here's an ISO on Kane. Yeah, the hold. But if Davis looks to his left instead of to his right, he sees a wide open Brock Robbins right down the seam because there was no free safety patrolling the middle of the play, or the middle of the field.
So the Bison set up now, first and goal at the 2. Under 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Long football game today. My goodness.
Touchdowns and kickoffs take time.
Purifoy fighting for the end zone. Did he get in? No signal yet. It certainly looked like he did, and he is. Touchdown, North Dakota State, Purifoy.
If I'm right, the 4th different rusher who has scored a touchdown for NDSU today.
That's correct.
Up to 64 points. Be no fullback in on that play, so it was just line up, me against you. And again, that Bison offensive line there is, this one will be marked 5 yards further back. There was some movement on the outside.
False start, offense number 42, 5-yard penalty. We'll replay the try.
Actually, I think it was 62. I think it was Mesner.
Yeah, I don't see Jabril Cox on the field.
No, he's not out there. It was 62.
So Peterson on for the extra point opportunity. Down, up, and it is good. So North Dakota State tacks on a little bit more, and the lead has swelled to 65-7. And I feel sorry for the guys in the end zone doing push-ups. It has been a long day for them. We'll be back with more from here at the Fargo Dome after this timeout. Back here at the Fargo Dome, take a look at your Bobcat recap. 5 plays, 46 yards at 212. Damaris Purifoy in from 2 yards out. And North Dakota State
with 546 total yards now for the Bison.
390 on the ground for NDSU. You said 400 yards they could run for. They may go well beyond that.
Way over that. But
this one booted away. And taking it about the 5. A little bit of a burst that time and a seam. Good, decent starting field position for Mississippi Valley State out to the 26-yard line. Morgan Sims on that return, a freshman. Today's game brought to you in part by Gate City Bank. Show your Bison pride with an NDSU Gate City Bank ATM and check card. Visit gatecitybank.com/mycard.
Jack Darnell playing a little defensive tackle right now. Younger Tuska on the right side. Kelly continues to play left defensive end.
New quarterback in the game for the Delta Devils. Dwayne Betts. He's a pretty electric athlete.
Big kid.
This is a kid that actually had committed to go to Kansas State. Got a man down there for North Dakota State. Oh boy.
Hurt the tackler.
The tackler needs to stay on the ground because that did not look good.
Is that Godfrey?
Yeah, it did. Like Russ Godfrey.
Nodak Insurance Company replay. Look for helmet to helmet contact. Yep.
Oof.
Now that head snaps pretty hard. Redshirt freshman, played at Sioux City East.
And Betts an interesting story. I committed to Kansas State. Things did not work out in that situation, so he was kind of a free agent that was out there. And again, just a freshman, but you look at the athlete and how he can move, how big he is. You have a bright future with the Delta Devils once he understands, gets to know the system a little bit better.
They have him listed 6'2", 205. He looks bigger than that, doesn't he?
He does. Continue to look at Godfrey. Hopefully everything is okay with him. .59", 166, a redshirt freshman out of Sioux City to Sioux City East High School.
Back in the day, the Sioux City high schools and the Sioux Falls high schools were in a conference, the SIC, Sioux Interstate Conference, and it was really good, you know, solid competition. And your longest road trips, what, 80 miles? So they had it set up pretty good back then.
Let's take a look at our upcoming schedule for North Dakota State, if we can. The Delta Devils, we talked to you about being at Eastern Washington next Saturday, 3 o'clock Central Time kickoff, a week off, and then we'll be back here at the FARGODOME as Robert Morris comes to Fargo for the final non-conference game, and then Valley play begins with the homecoming matchup against Missouri State. Got Indiana State on the road, and then Youngstown State on the road. That is a Missouri Valley ESPN3 broadcast only before LT and I take you home for the last 5 games of the season.
Review a targeting penalty on number 27. We'll continue to review the play.
Oh,
reviewing a target penalty on 27.
That would be bordering on idiotic, if you ask me, if they would call this a targeting penalty. I don't think so. He just tried to get low and take on the quarterback. And if anyone initiates contact, it was the quarterback.
Well, it certainly doesn't appear that Godfrey's coming back in the game regardless.
The field of not a targeting foul stands as called. No. Remains second down.
But obviously they were, you know, looking at the athlete on the field. You have an opportunity in the replay booth to give it a look. They did, and saw what we did.
So it's a 5-yard gain up to the 32. 2nd and 5 coming up. Take a look at Godfrey on the sidelines, and hopefully he will be okay. Boy, that play is not going to work. Millage still on his feet, but there are about 5 Bison players in the vicinity. And that is a big loss. You saw Justice Kelly get in there, Cole Karch get in there, along with Dan Marlette.
Yeah, Kelly made first contact, and he was able to just stay wrapped up enough around the legs before the help arrived.
So 3rd and 10 coming up. Betts fires in and out of the hands of his intended target on the play, Quinn McElfresh, and incomplete.
Pass that probably should have been caught, even though it would have been well short of a first down. Only a gain of probably 3 or 4 on the play if it's a clean grab. True freshman, Hayes making the play defensively.
And another punting situation for Justin Reed. Trey Dempsey will go back and call for another fair catch.
Yeah. Yeah, he will not run one back. I'd be very surprised if he does.
Maybe Reed's best of the day, and Dempsey's just going to let this one bounce, and it's a good bounce for Mississippi Valley State inside the 25 down to the 22-yard line. And that's where North Dakota State will have it. Ryan Gellner sidelines with us, has another injury update. Ryan.
Guys, nothing official on Ross Godfrey, but trainers did take the helmet away from Godfrey, and that only means one thing, that he is done for the day. He's getting checked out by the training staff, but they go take his helmet, they put it behind a closed locker, so he won't be coming back in. You hate to speculate on concussion or head injury, but they're certainly checking him over, going through baseline studies, things like that. But Ross Godfrey done for the day.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Your first International Bank and Trust sideline report. Cole Davis with the offense back on the field with 3:17 to go here in the 3rd quarter. More room up the middle. Gain of 5 for Purifoy.
And again, at the end of this thing, when the defense is trying to rip that ball out of there, Damaris does a fine job of making sure that he can corral and control that football.
Eric Olson, the senior from Maple Grove, Minnesota, getting into the game. Play action for Davis. Flips it out in the flat, hung on to by Brock Robbins, and he's going to be close to a first down, and I think he's got it up to the 33.
That was a good catch. I mean, it was low and into the inside, away from where Robbins had his momentum going. I like to see hands like that.
Most importantly, that keeps the clock running here in the third quarter.
Amen. But see, low into the inside, tips it to himself, and then Robbins squares up. Gets what he can, and what he can get there is a first down.
Back to the ground game. Again, it's Purifoy. Gain of 7 up to the 39.
I think if I caught the number right, that was Jack Albright that just had a tremendous block.
We're seeing Ben Hecht into the game as well, getting a lot of offensive linemen in the game here today. Also includes Josh Howieson from Baxter, Minnesota, went to Brainerd High School, a redshirt freshman. Zach Kuntz in at fullback, number 32, Grand Forks Red River product. His father actually played football at UND. Purifoy again, going to be short of a first down by about a yard.
Saw a little bit of Red River last night, played out in Bismarck. Century won that game.
So NDSU will try to keep the chains moving here as we tick down under a minute now in the third quarter. Everybody in tight here on 3rd and 1.5.
First down. Ooh, maybe not.
I think he still got it, but I think he was looking for the home run. Purifoy.
Yeah. Yeah, Purifoy did get the first down, but you're right. He was trying to take a big hop to the outside, and he comes off a little ginger, maybe holding, I don't know, but it's kind of seemed like he had his hand on his hip a little weird, but I think he'll be all right.
NDSU a little short in the running back department. Yeah, Purifoy obviously 4, but Adam Cofield not available today due to injury. The redshirt freshman. Davis, quick slant, right on target, caught. Pretty good gain all the way down to the 32-yard line for Daniel Polanski. The senior from Gatsky, Minnesota.
That's a simple little slant. Polanski was able to, right off the ball, beat his defender, and then saw him coming and just kept going all the way down to the 33.
And that takes us to the end of the third quarter. 15 minutes to go here in the FARGODOME. And yeah, it's your 4 for 4, so hold up your 4 from PetroServe USA. You can get pizza, 2 cookies, and a drink at all 24 PetroServe USA locations. We will have the final quarter of football from here in North Fargo coming up next. Well, it's been all North Dakota State from the opening, well, maybe not the opening kickoff, but every play since the opening kickoff.
Just physically dominant today. NDSU has been. Passing game worked, running game worked. Everything's worked.
65-7 as we start the fourth quarter, and Henry Van Dellen in at quarterback for North Dakota State. The redshirt freshman went to Providence Academy in the Twin Cities area.
Yeah, not a big high school in the Twin Cities, but he's a big kid, tall kid, strong arm. His major adjustment is going from never taking a snap to having to take snaps and make reads while dropping back to pass. That's foreign to him because he did not do it in high school. Like we talked earlier, though, if you were with us, Coach Hedberg was really hoping that he'd be able to take some snaps today.
Purifoy back in the game, stacked up at the line of scrimmage. We'll bring up 3rd and long. Next week's opponent, Eastern Washington, in their opener today in the third quarter. They trail Texas Tech 35-10.
Am I surprised they're behind? No. Am I surprised with only 10 points? I'd say yes.
Yes, especially with Texas Tech, who had one of the worst defenses in the country last year. And that will be a 3 o'clock kickoff from Cheney, Washington. So join us for the pregame show at 2. Kickoff at 3 on the first time that NDSU has played at Eastern Washington since the 2010 playoffs. The Bison losing a playoff
what
game.
What happened in that game?
In the quarterfinals on a wild, wild football game. And this pass is incomplete. Pretty good coverage that time by Dominique Shelton, junior corner out of Ventura, California.
Well, the pass needs to be a little bit more to the outside. That was more toward the inside and had an opportunity to get picked. That's a ball that needs to be thrown a little bit wider. Give your guy the only chance to catch it.
And Van Dellen and the offense will stay on the field here on 4th and long. And again, Van Dellen still very much learning this offense. So the calls coming in and things just happening a little bit slower at this point. 3 on the play clock. Fires across the middle, and that was behind Desmond Kane and incomplete.
But you can see Van Dellen make his first read outside, not there. Second man was the slant. So he went through his read progression to try to get the ball to the open man. It was incomplete, though.
It's interesting talking to Desmond Kane, too, and he said, you know, it's so hard coming in because I hear a call and I revert back to the call I heard in Illinois, and I got to train my brain differently, and I don't think he's quite there yet, but I know Chris Kleiman and Courtney Messingham hoping by Valley play that he'll be able to understand all the terminology and be ready to go.
Now, we're used to it. The Bison have a lot of pre-snap movement in their offense. Tight end flips sides, fullback goes to tight end, that type of thing. And that's where Kane has to make sure that he is right, because sometimes he needs to be on the line, off the line, depends on where the shift happens. So those are the types of things that he is, I don't want to say struggling with, but just a little bit slower to pick up.
Betts taking off with that one and picking up 7 yards up to the 38. Off inside this time, and nowhere to go for the ball carrier Tyler Brewer, sophomore running back out of Memphis. Saw Aaron Mercado get in there from Oakland, California.
Another one of those redshirt freshmen getting some playing time now. Quinn Allo, freshman from Lemoore. There's Quinn wears number 97.
So 3rd and 3 coming up for Mississippi Valley State. Betts fires into the flat, caught. But he's going to be well short of a first down. Good pursuit by the Bison. Brewer cannot get to the outside, and that will bring up 4th down.
That's James Hendricks coming up to make that tackle.
Today's game is being brought to you by the fine stations of the Bison Network, including flagship stations KBLY, Fargo, and KFYR Bismarck, along with KMOT Minot, KQCD Dickinson, KUMV Williston, and KOOL in Alexandria, Minnesota. Trade MC back again.
Playing about 5 or 6 yards deeper this time. Last one went over his head.
Dempsey will call for the fair catch and take it at the 33-yard line. .11:16 to go from here at the FARGODOME. Well, you talked, LT, about things you wanted to see, guys you wanted to see. Anything stand out to you specifically from today's game? I know it's hard to gauge based on how lopsided it's been.
What I like is just, more than anything, is just how dominant, how physically dominant both offense and defensive lines were. You can tell that right off the bat. You assumed that that's what it was going to be, and that's exactly what it was. So anytime you can physically just pound an opponent like that.
Brooks got the little pitch out in space, and again, Brooks has a first down, pickup of 12 up to the 46.
But I don't know if it's one particular player necessarily that is, you know, stood out. Ty Brooks has had a good game, but we expect stuff like that from him. He's a good athlete.
Ryan Gellner has a report for us on the sidelines. Ryan.
trying to figure out things to watch for at this point, what fans should be interested in. That 12-yard run by Ty Brooks brings the Bison total to 420 yards. The record single-season rushing yards in a game is 424, so they're just 4 yards away from setting an all-time season, or rather regular season game team record at 424. That was Coastal Carolina, a playoff game in 12.
And I think Purifoy has it. Thank you, Ryan. As he picked up about 6 inside Mississippi Valley State territory to the 48. And the Bison just continue to hammer home up the middle. As Purifoy loses his helmet, we'll have to come out of the game.
Yeah, that's a one-play mandatory. If your helmet comes off, you must come out for one play.
Ty Brooks has another first down for NDSU up to the 43.
You have to feel good about the fact that you know, some of the kids that are playing now, you won't even find them on your 2 deep. But yet, what are they doing? They're being able to grind out some from first down, and that goes back to that, you know, physically try to take advantage of and beat the guy in front of you, and the Bison continue to do that.
Aubrey Powell making the stop that time for the Delta Devils. Back to the power game again for Purifoy, who is upended after a gain of about 4 yards. Andre Miles on that tackle for Mississippi Valley State. Well, Beth Hool is in the house, it appears, on the sidelines. Purifoy again, tiptoes through the hole, another good surge, and close to another first down.
Close, might be about a length of the ball short.
Well, today's game is brought to you in part by Gate City Bank. Gate City Bank has been serving customers and investing in a better way of life since 1923, with 36 locations in 19 communities across North Dakota and western Minnesota.
Malmstrom comes in at fullback, one of your big, strong blocking fullbacks, trying to get this last yard for the first down.
Purifoy lost the football, and it's still loose on the turf, and now a bunch of bodies are on top. It looked like 3 different Delta Devils had a chance to get it, but we're not exactly sure who did. We'll see who has it at the end of the bottom of the pile.
Yes, but I think the Bison kept it.
They did. Unbelievable. Was Malmstrom the guy?
Yep. He was out lead blocking on the play, and he comes up with the football.
Now take a look on the Nodak Insurance replay. After Purifoy loses the football, watch how many different Delta Devils have a shot at this thing. There's 3 guys there.
All around him, and nope, it scoots between the legs, and there's 2 other on the other side, and there you see 39. You see Malmstrom at the bottom of that pile as this goes zip. Hey, look at this, I'll take it. But how this ends up with the Bison, I guess, I'm not sure.
Well, there's 3 different Delta Devils there.
And
4 more.
The right arm of Malmstrom pulls it back in.
Oh boy!
We do
have
it's not your day. A Delta Devil player is injured along the Bison sideline, right about at the 20.
Looks like it's Amani Peoples starting defensive end, but he is going to be helped to his feet.
And with as many bodies flying around and knocking off of, you know, hitting shins and feet and knees, trying to get that ball.
Here's a look at Malmstrom. Came in and did a really nice job. Again, played at Frazee Vergas High School. Interestingly enough, Frazee does not have enough football players this year to field a team.
Yeah, I heard that was the decision made.
For a Bison touchdown. Watch and see if the play you select is the play of the half, brought to you by Great Lakes.
Purifoy again has really been the workhorse here in the second half for NDSU. Gains 3 up to the 16.
Kuntz in there again as the lead blocker from his fullback position. Now this game may be decided, yes, we know it is, 65-7. But believe me, the players know that every snap they take is going to be broken down, looked at. How efficient are you? Getting in, getting out of the huddle. When does the play snap? It's going to snap at about 10.
Purifoy lunges ahead across the 15 to the 14.
Because coaches never stop coaching, and the players never stop trying to do what the coaches want. They shouldn't.
A few different tight ends coming into the game this time, including Ben Ellefson, who has a touchdown reception today. Also Cole Jacob, wide receiver, redshirt freshman out of Medina, Minnesota, played his high school ball at Benilde St. Margaret. Keep it on the ground with Purifoy. Stayed on his feet to the 10-yard line, came up a yard short of the first down.
It looked weird when he planted. It looked weird when he tried to go back to the other side, and he's holding the left knee. That was a strange play.
Oh no.
Yep. That did not look good when he tried to make his initial cut back.
We'll take a quick timeout and be back with more, and hoping that Damaris Purifoy is not injured as badly as we think he might be. Back in a moment. Purifoy being taken off the field, and we had a chance to look at the replay. We've decided not to show it. It doesn't look good.
No, it's not good. Not good at all. I feel sorry for the young man.
Yeah, they'll give him an MRI and see exactly what's going on, but from what we looked, it appears to be a very, very serious injury.
He's going to keep it.
Van Dellen showing off the wheels, and he runs for a touchdown. Henry Van Dellen, the redshirt freshman out of Plymouth, Minnesota, has his first touchdown at North Dakota State.
Well, a little read option. That's what he did in high school. Keeps it, gets around the one man, and then gets into the end zone. Bison over the 70-point mark.
And Adam Cofield did get in the game there. We were told he was likely not going to play today, and he was in on that play as Van Dellen kept. Extra point is booted up and through by Cam Peterson. So we'll take a quick timeout and be back with more from here at the FargoDome. It's 72-7, NDSU. Back at the FargoDome, 6:23 to go here in the fourth quarter. North Dakota State in control, leading 72-7 over the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State. Henry Van Dellen, touchdown run, his first as a Bison. His kickoff bounces and skips past Morgan Sims and through the end zone for a touchback.
Kind of had a weird side spin to it. It wasn't that end over end kick you usually see from off the tee.
Take another quick timeout. We'll be back. .6:23 to go, 72-7. This drive will start at the 25-yard line again for Betts, who remains in the game at quarterback, and he will, well, attempt to throw.
No, he won't attempt to throw.
Taken out by Jack Darnell, who get credit for one of those sacks. Justice Kelly back there, along with pretty much every other lineman NDSU has. See Michael Kelly.
Michael Kelly as well.
Redshirt freshman from Oaks, North Dakota.
Oh, he's had Keenan Hodfield is out there. He's a senior from Ray playing. Who else do we see out there? Felix Dixon.
Eric Bachmeyer as well, the Kindred product.
Dixon's a redshirt from Clearwater, Florida.
Boy, Betts Gets out and run. Pretty dangerous athlete in space. Picks up about 9 to bring up 3rd and 6.
Bo Pauly also in on that play. Number 43 is a redshirt freshman from Becker.
That was high school teammates with Dylan Radens. Ryan Geller has an update on the Damaris Purifoy injury down on the sidelines, Ryan.
Yeah, guys, it's a tough one. It does not look good. Of course, no confirmation from NDSU. It certainly is a knee, but I can tell you all the running backs have come over. Purifoy is emotional as I have seen. Running backs have come over, given him hugs, shared words of encouragement. Greg Menard, who's out for the season with a knee injury, came over. Those two embraced. It is a tough scene right now on the Bison sidelines. Purifoy with the air cast on. He's obviously done for the day, but I would say from down here a lot longer.
Yeah, I would agree. And we told you during during that break, we looked at the replay and decided not to show you at home what it looked like. So that'll just give you an indication that his season is probably over.
Oh boy, Trey Dempsey better get back on top of that thing. And he does at the 32. Saw Aaron Mercado come up with the big sack on that 3rd down play of Betts flying off the edge. And there's Greg Menard on the sidelines as well on crutches. Today's game brought to you in part by Gate City Bank. For a limited time only, receive $700 off your mortgage closing costs. For more details, visit gatecitybank.com/betterhomeloans.
But you mentioned Menard, and we talked a lot about him in the pregame show and early on, but we got a chance to chat with him right before the game, and it seemed like he was in fairly good spirits. He knows what's ahead of him, and he's ready to do the work. There's a good solid run there.
Yeah, good run up the middle by Krzyzewski. Yeah, Greg said, yeah, I still got the dull pain. I'm doing rehab already. Did have surgery a couple Fridays ago. And be a long road back, but he said, I have a long time to get ready. He goes, I hate to say it happened. I hate it happened, but I'm glad it happened when it did.
And unfortunately, he has somebody in Nate Tangway who just went through it. So Nate is going to be able to help coach him through where the knee feels like when you're trying to do rehab, how that process goes.
Krzyzewski, some strong running in there, up to the 50-yard line. Krzyzewski, just a redshirt freshman, as we talked about. Normally a wide receiver, but I think Chris Kleiman is just trying to get through this game without getting any other running backs hurt.
Well, I think basically, with the exception of Jackson Kuntz, if you had the opportunity to be active today, I think everybody has played. And Kuntz is the punter, so that's a good sign that he hasn't played for the Bison.
Well, we haven't talked about it, but Jeff Ilias is also in street clothes on the sideline. He hurt a knee early in camp. One of those things he's working through. It's been about a month. So now he's going to just try to get back, hopefully by next week, for Eastern Washington. I'm not exactly sure on how long it'll be.
And out of that tight end group, he is a kid that really brings that dynamic versatility. And he is a guy that has wide receiver skills in a tight end body.
Well, this copyrighted broadcast is property of North Dakota State University. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or distribution without the consent of NDSU is strictly prohibited. Krzyzewski continues to get the carries.
Close, but might be just a hair short of the first down.
He is going to be short by about a yard.
The one thing I'll say about Ilias is he sure looks different with short hair. There he is. There's Jeff.
Well, it's really not short. It's just up in a ponytail.
Well, when it's not flowing out of his helmet and all of that, yeah, he has it pulled up.
I had a chance to catch up with Jeff too over the summer. You know, a guy that is realizing, you know, this is the end. This is my last year. And was reflecting on that and the culture and how it's impacted him as a person. How about Krzyzewski? continues to run wild out there. First down before he's taken down up to the 42. And you know, one thing with Jeff, his hope is they will be back for the Eastern Washington game, but just realizes he wants to go out on the top. So this means a lot to the 21 seniors. We all have a goal in mind, and the hope
is Frisco
is to get back to where, well, we're used to being, and that's in Texas in January.
You never know what's going to happen between now and the playoffs, but I tell you, I have myself and a lot of people obviously have high hopes for this team. They have the ability to do it. And I think Brian, you and I would both agree that at this point last year, in terms of where we, with Frisco being the ultimate, end game, this team this year is setting better than last year's team at this time. Would you agree?
I would definitely say so. Got to avoid those catastrophic injuries. That's the only thing you worry about in game. That can catch up with a team, but they certainly seem poised to make another run. 72-7 your final as the final seconds tick away, and NDSU moves to 1-0 on the season, and we'll look forward to a rematch with Eastern Washington in Cheney coming up next Saturday afternoon. Both teams will shake hands. Mississippi Valley State will head back to Itabena and get ready to take on Southern Illinois next Saturday in Carbondale.
Yeah, it was a tough day for them, and exactly how we thought it would be. Bison being physical, and yeah, Mississippi Valley State is a team that just got beat up and beat up hard today.
Chris Kleiman making his way over to Ryan Gellner. We'll get some final thoughts here from the head coach at North Dakota State. 72-7 the final, and he is standing by with Ryan Gellner.
Chris, you get the win in game one, a new school record for rushing yards in a single game. I thought the offensive line, the running backs really played well throughout.
Yeah, they really did, and we played an awful lot of offensive linemen, and that's something that down the stretch we're going to need those guys. So I was pleased with the way the backs ran, pleased with our blocking up front, and it was just first game. We got a lot of work to do.
Couple of injuries in this one. I know you'll find out more in a little bit, but most part, you think you came out okay?
Yeah, you just never know. It's unfortunate. It's part of the game. I don't like it. We'll see what happens over the next few days.
All right, we'll see you over the next week. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Guys, back upstairs.
All right, thanks, Ryan. NDSU 1-0. We'll be back to wrap things up from here at Gate City Bank at the FARGODOME. Coming up after this on the KBLY KFYR Bison Network. Back to wrap things up from here at the FARGODOME. 72-7 is your final. North Dakota State moving to 1-0. And your Nodak Mutual Insurance player of the game is Trey Dempsey. Or excuse me.
No, Ty Brooks.
Ty Brooks. I saw Trey Dempsey's dad there. That's why it made me think of Trey Dempsey. How about Ty Brooks there? Big day today. Yeah. 127 yards and 2 touchdowns.
A couple of touchdowns. He had a long run of, I think, 38 yards, average double digits in terms of his yards per rush at 11.5. And I like the fact that, we know he can get to the outside and do this, but I thought he was pretty good in traffic as well behind that offensive line, who really gave him good surges today.
And it's good to see Ty Brooks out there getting a lot of different opportunities. 11 carries today as North Dakota State sets a new school record for rushing yards in a game with 498 yards on the ground, 683 total on the offensive side for NDSU. Not so good for Mississippi Valley State, just 58 yards of total offense, including negative 31 in rushing yards.
Well, that goes back to what we talked about. When you asked me, what did I most like today? The dominant performance by both lines. You see it in the rushing yards for the defense, a minus 31. You see it in the new record for rushing yards on the offense, almost 500.
Let's take a look at your final stats brought to you by the North Dakota Certified Seed Producers.
This is a follow-up what Brian and I were talking about a little bit there. 684 is going to be their total yards today. Bison, they passed the ball just because they wanted to work on a few things, not because they had to, because they wanted to, because when you rush like that, you don't have to throw the ball.
And NDSU obviously dominating in every single fashion of the game. Just 3 first downs for Mississippi Valley State, 31 first downs for NDSU as they really control the football game in all fashions today. And we'll get ready for a matchup with Eastern Washington, and the Eagles struggling on the road today at Texas Tech, 49-10 as we head into the fourth quarter. Again, new head coach, 3 new offensive coordinators in the last 10 months as we take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Bison.
And 3 out of the 4 main wide receivers are new, yes, yada, 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 but you just see Eastern and you just assume there's going to be some big offense. 10 points today for them really surprises me, and we'll see next week what we get to bring you from Cheney.
And Gage Gruberu, the quarterback that came in here and lit up the FARGODOME, is going to be back and is playing today. So we'll get a look at the red turf next week. So adjust your eyes for that. Bring your sunglasses, do whatever you need to do to watch next week's telecast as we hit the airwaves at 2 o'clock with the pregame show. That will do it from all of us here at the KBOI KFYR Bison Network. For Alex Egan, Beth Hool, Ryan Gellner, Lee Timmerman, and our entire production crew that works very, very hard on these telecasts. So long from the FARGODOME, the Bison victorious 72-7. We'll see you from Cheney, Washington next Saturday afternoon. So long, everybody. Have a great Saturday.